early. Well, we're going to get started 30 minutes early. You know why? Because it's my show. I'm going to do whatever I want. It's Monday. So that means it's another episode of Tales from the Dorkside, and we are, of course, going back to regular vampire hours. The middle of the night. Actually, no, it's 9:30. I don't know if we're going to talk for 6 or 7 hours about vampires, but we'll do a nice 2-3 hour stream. We started a little early because some of the boys and the girls and me have all been drinking. And Northern English Bastard is going to wake up at 4 in the morning. He's going to set his alarm and he's going to pop in. We're going to talk about this Last Voyage of the Demeter. We're going to be talking about Draculas. There's lots of Draculas, man. Like Norm Macdonald likes to say, Draculas everywhere. We got to talk about all the Draculas. What else do I want to talk about? I also want to talk about William Friedkin. He's dead. That sucks. I watched some of his movies. And, yeah. Mostly, why is this Dracula naked? Do we like our Draculas naked? Do we prefer them to have clothes? I'm torn. This is like the new great conundrum. I don't know. Does Dracula shitty or shitty not wear clothes? I don't know. Anyway, we have... Oh, wait. No, not loop it. Don't loop it. Stop that. Anyway, we have one vampire. Two vampire. 3 vampire and 4 vampire.
Yeah.
How you guys?
Yeah. He could be the Lord of Vampires.
Oh yeah, should I just talk the whole episode like fucking Bela Lugosi?
Do the whole.
I never drink wine ever.
Why is your favorite?
Count. I was thinking more like what is it, Count Dracula?
Yeah, Bela Lugosi is Count Dracula, my dear.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Oh boy.
Well,
oh,
let's.
boy.
Yeah, I mean.
What did you expect from me, really, Lord of Toxicity? What did you expect for me to be just all knowing on all this stuff?
I expect you to know your place. And, you will be one of the brides of Dracula, and you will love it.
That I can do,
die.
but don't expect, like I said, don't expect answers from me.
Jeez.
I'm just
Children
here
of the night. What sweet
I'm just here for
music
4
they
out
make.
of 10 eye candy.
Damn, I'll tell you what,
4 out of
Enzo
10
can do some voices, can he?
Yeah, dude. That's why. Yeah. I thank you.
His Statham is scary.
Yeah, why won't you die? I was thinking Jason fighting Jason. I want a movie with Jason fighting Jason Voorhees. Like you have Jason Statham, who's a hitman, and there's like a counselor or the person who owns Camp Crystal Lake, property owner, and like they're like trying to open the summer camp, but everyone's afraid of Jason.
They hire him as like a handyman.
We hire a literal hitman. It's like there's a fucking crazy maniac in the woods wearing a fucking hockey mask. Here's the dossier. Here's all the camp killings. It's like, this man's not real. He's not. This is a myth. He's make believe. It's like, no, he's out there. He's killing camp counselors.
Steve Irwin, honestly.
Little Steve Irwin. I'm gonna find this Jason Voorhees. Almost stick my thumb right up his crikey ass.
Right up his ass.
Right up his bum.
See, I'm
killed me. Right.
I'm a shitty alcoholic. I put this stuff into the freezer, half it froze. So I'm just gonna dump all the Sprite into this half empty bottle and see what happens.
Is it like a cordial? Is it not?
It just says.
You're like something of a scientist.
The
then,
wine cocktail.
right?
I don't know. So
so that means there's water in it.
I guess because I've been drinking this with me and Wes do Justified, so it was halfway done. I'm like, I'll get it into the freezer. I didn't know it was halfway freeze, so let's just go like this.
You're just doing science. You're making a science slushy.
Yep.
Two things on that. We had to drink really heavy after that last shit
show.
Oh
boy.
And then the other one is I've been secretly reaching out to Chris's family and being like, please water down his booze. So that's why it's frozen.
That's why it's freezing. Or maybe it's your son. Your son did it. Maybe your son did it. He's been drinking your booze, like watching your videos, like learning from you. I'm just kidding.
I learned it from you, Dad.
You're going to catch your son drinking one day, and you're going to be like, it's not really much I could say.
I'll say this.
I feel like you're joking.
if you look in New York State, technically speaking, legally, 21 and under, you can't buy alcohol, but it's not illegal to give your kids alcohol, like throw a
No,
house
that's
party.
how it is in Texas too.
And I'm just saying, he turned 16. He's driving now. I'm not against giving my kid a swig of Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Is it
but
16 when you can give it to him? 16's the age where you can like hand it to him.
I'll say this because it's you guys. We have this thing called Bat and Kill. It's this we all hop in tubes. We were going down last summer. My sister Jamie has a massive fucking can of Mike's Hard, like this big super can. My nephew's 11. She goes, "Why? Hold on to this can." And she's like, "Well, just take a fucking swig." And she didn't look, and I was screaming. My fucking nephew took that can. We just like, fuck, like this, a 20-second chug. I'm just like dying.
That's so sad. Like that's like we have a stupid tradition. One of my bands, my Cream Cheese Accident band, the boys, they like to get on the road and before gigs they chug a Mike's Hard Lemonade. And I'm in the band and I'm like, I hate this shit. I don't like doing it. I don't drink it. I don't buy me one. I don't want part of this tradition, you know? And that was like something that finally came and went.
You're such a buzzkill.
We also touch butts, though. We touch butts on stage. That's our tradition that we always do.
Well,
That's hot.
that's nice. That's
hot.
nice.
I can't drink beer. It's
I'm
either
not going to chug a fucking Mike's Hard Lemonade before I go play drums for 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
That's
nasty.
true.
It's either
That's
I drink
It's
either
a tall boy.
It's either
It's
Mike's Hard or Hard Liquor. I can't taste the fucking hops.
Even
taste,
if you
man.
ask me to chug like a non-alcoholic, lemon flavored soda that's ice cold, it's like, dude, that's hard.
I know you guys have never seen Enzo like play drums, but it's like by the time he's done, it's like sweat running down the eyes. Like just, I mean,
Oh my god, I was already turned on, Megan. You don't have to sell me on the thing.
Actually,
saying.
I gotta say, I hate to say it, but I think I'm like, the drumming's like the thing I'm probably the best at. It's crazy.
In your life,
Is that true, Megan? Is that what he is the best at?
It's the best thing he can do in public.
Oh,
yikes!
Before we start talking too much, because we're all friends here, like with Meg, my girl was watching. I told her about what Wes said about fucking Henry Cavill and his hog, and she was screaming. I said, "Honey, sometimes you came on here, I was like, the fact that like I listened to everything again, and when Meg and Wes go at it, like I like the fact that Meg can hang with the guys because Christ, we're so fucking tired of these oversensitized like fucking PC women, where it's like that's why we people like Chrissy Mayer, X-Ray Girl, and FNT, because Chrissy Mayer can give it back to Nerdrotic and them guys with the best of them, and that's how Megan West is. It's fucking hilarious, man. Like
you don't see it. You don't see a lot of YouTube women being kind of pussies, do you? They're all pretty hardcore.
It's like stand-up comedians,
I'm not
female
a
comedians.
YouTube woman, to be sure. Like I don't have a channel. I don't try to do my own YouTube thing.
Megan's not a YouTube
I'm only
woman.
here because I have like a weird soft spot in my heart for you retards. But like, aside from that,
she was wondering like why she was
like my grandmother.
She was put on the Modbin page, like modding the page.
Like, I don't even know what the I don't even.
She's like, why am I here? And
why
Toxic was like, you're a diversity hire. We need some bitches.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Now we just need a black dude and a black woman, and we
have a black dude.
Oh, cool. Who? Which one? I don't know the skin color of all the mods there. They all got fucking aliases.
Oh yeah, good point.
Do we have a black woman?
Okay, cool. Good.
We do not.
Should I make an alt in blackface?
Would you?
No.
Would you please?
Are you trying to challenge me with a good time? Because don't you fucking challenge me. I'll do it.
Start OnlyFans.
I'll do it right now on this stream. Right now.
I just went from 6 to midnight. I don't know about you guys.
Why are you? Oh my god! Why are you not on the camera? By the way,
the Lord of Toxicity shows his face when he decides to.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
His phone can't have that much data.
Like that,
well, he's using his new laptop. Apparently, it sounds good.
The more you talk in third person, the smaller I think your dick is.
Oh, my dick is tiny. You don't have to guess, baby. That shit. I have the Irish curse. I'm hung like a light switch.
Yeah.
I have the Irish blessing. I have red hair and a nice body.
I told you guys.
Unfortunately, it works backwards for guys.
I can't listen to our stuff when I do an Uber because even with headphones on, at one point I bust out laughing because Enzo, the whole fucking Wes was saying about fucking that young turtle man having the sickle cell. I laughed out loud, and one behind me was like, "You okay?" I'm so sorry.
Did I just bully you into turning your cam on? I'm going to take that as a victory. Megan 1, Toxic 0.
Megan won! Toxic 0!
That's how most of my interactions with women are, so that's fine.
But good picture of this vamp. These fucking pics were, man, dude.
So
nice
is
picture.
this? I didn't watch the movie.
What are you talking about? The thumbnail. No,
Yeah,
no.
This is an actual
So
thing
this
from the
actually,
picture
this
now.
was one of the few times where I was challenged to do Midjourney. I wish Midjourney just let me do nudity and extreme violence, but it doesn't. Even if it's in my
No.
private server, it
They
definitely
wouldn't
tells me
even
like.
let me. They wouldn't even let me do someone lacing up a corset. They
So-
said it was
wow.
inappropriate.
I had to really think about how to get like I would say Dracula, no shirt, swim trunks, whatever, on the beach, coming out of a pool, and they'd always just picture him with like long, flowing, awesome hair, like super handsome, and then they'd also, so then I would try like Gollum with no shirt, and that was like again too small, too short. I started doing like demons, and it kept making them women.
Enough.
And eventually I just said Nosferatu.
wait. No. Let's rewind. You kept saying demons and it kept making it women?
Yeah, women. Yeah,
I
in dresses.
love that.
Yeah. It was funny.
Seems pretty accurate to
Yeah.
me, but
Like sexy women in red
you know
dresses.
dude, you're so this looks so good, man. This is a fucking badass picture.
It
And
kind of looks like my ex-husband.
it
a
really
little
does.
it
My
looks
whole
like,
thing was,
you know what
why
it
was
reminds-
Dracula naked in this new movie? I mean, I didn't
Well-
mind it, but it was weird.
Why would he not be though?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like, I don't know if I like it better with he's naked or he wears like a cool cape. Like at the, I mean, I don't want to get into the movie. We'll get into the movie.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Yeah.
But
Are we waiting? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. What are the ground rules? Are we waiting?
yeah,
until,
we'll just bullshit for a little bit. Talk
We
about
talk
like the
about
general.
weird shit that I
general
told you
discussion.
earlier about my great grandma who was schizophrenic because it
No.
has to do with
was she
Dracula.
a vampire? Did she drink blood or?
No, she was afraid of vampires and she was schizophrenic, like I said, fully schizophrenic. And she would see bats that she knew were all
Nice.
vampires. And my grandma,
Nice.
her daughter, would have to sit her in a chair and say, like, this chair is special. We put like a protection on it. Like if you sit in this chair,
Yeah.
then the vampires can't get you. But she was supposed to
Okay.
be quote unquote
Okay.
watching my mom and siblings while my grandma was
Okay.
at work, and it's like she would go out there and play hide and go seek, and they didn't know she was literally looking for commies, and she wasn't joking.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And like and then she would have to sit in this chair and stay away from the vampires, and it's like
Huh.
they never knew any different. That was just grandma, and it's fucking weird to think about, dude.
The
You know what
Just
I've noticed?
imagine.
Bat
And
country.
Enzo, back me up on this if I'm accurate. I've noticed that the more ethnic your family tends to be, the more likelihood they believe in vampires and things of that nature.
My
Oh, yeah.
grandmother's Italian, and like, yeah, back to Bela Lugosi, like that was her favorite Dracula. She kind of talked like him, but like, yeah, she's very, superstitious old lady, and
Yeah.
So is mine. I
never
have
directly asked her if she believed in vampires, but I'm sure she did.
you guys are too young for this, unfortunately, but back in the 80s.
Hey, Jay.
Oh, there he is. Oh, what we got here?
Who's Jayhawk fan? Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Toxic sent out the link and a bunch of people, so thanks
I
for coming in.
did. I think if he's Jayhawk, he's probably Lawrence, Kansas or something like that. Is that right?
Yes.
Nice.
Cool.
That's me and you, brother.
Welcome.
Welcome to our shit show to talk about vampires.
Yeah, I don't know, just having a Dracula stream, at 10 at night,
Yeah.
Monday.
And we will cross the threshold of the witching hour.
So
Hey, but-
Jayhawk, what do you think about vampires or Dracula
Yeah.
who is naked, or do you want your Dracula to be wearing clothes?
Well, that's an interesting question. I could go
Well-
either way.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I don't know which I don't like.
Lawrence is a very liberal town, just so you know. So.
Well, it doesn't matter. Do you like? The thing is, do you like? Do you like your Draculas like to be smooth and suave and sexy, or do you like them to be creatures of the night, horrible demons? Bald heads, freaky. I don't know.
Well, I would definitely go with the smoothness and maybe like the bald head, and maybe put in some of those colored contact lenses.
Cool.
Like, look at this thumbnail. How do you feel about this thumbnail in relation to like what you would?
Well, that I could actually do something. I could get behind that. That's something
Nice.
kind of
Yeah, that-
creepy and right up my alley and everything.
I think this gives very Midnight Mass vibes.
Yeah.
I
That's
did
what
like Midnight Mass. I know that was one of
Me
your top
too.
3.
Me
Yeah.
too. Me
Good
too.
show.
Where do we got Midnight? We had Midnight. Oh yeah, Midnight Mass. This thing. This guy looked badass, and I do like the idea that I don't know, this idea of the wings. I mean, I can take it or leave it. I do like when you wear this hat though. You just like looks like a person. You just looks like a man, just like a creepy man wearing a top hat, you know, or this weird church robe. I don't know. I love it.
Yeah,
It was very surprising because I didn't expect a lot out of it because I'm not one of those people that liked Haunting of Hill House and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I did like Midnight Mass quite a bit.
I think they both suffered from the same problem where like they were really awesome building tension and taking advantage of this long form storytelling with the streaming platforms, but I think both of them just kind of shat to bed on the last episodes. I was like, ugh. Like there's a part where like the end of Midnight Mass where like there's the whole town's getting slaughtered, and at a certain point it was like it just starts getting boring after a while. It's like so much excitement that it just like you just kind of run out of steam. Just like reminds me of like episode 3, the lightsaber fight just goes on forever. Where after a while we're like, oh, we need to take a break. We need to go cut to something else. I don't know.
I feel you on that. I think his Mike Flanagan's biggest, who's the writer director of that, I think his biggest strength is also his biggest weakness, which is his dialogue and monologue heavy type stuff. He has some really great dialogue and monologues, but then they go on too long.
Yeah.
Hey Enzo,
Yes, dear.
how many people can you have in here at a time? Because if it's only 5, I want to jump out before Bastard wakes up.
Well, it's 6, so unfortunately you have to stay. I'm sorry.
I'm-
Boyfriend's rules.
I'll deal with it.
It's funny
I
because
just
you
didn't
guys
wanna
are
be
making it. You guys are
inconsiderate.
making it think. You guys probably think that I'm making her do this shit. She wants to come in here. I was like, all right.
I just like I'm not really a movie buff. I'm just a shitlord, and I feel like there is like a little bit of a space for that because sometimes you guys can't be. Because you have to watch what you say, you know, for your panel or for whatever. But especially me being a woman,
I'm the Lord of Toxicity. You needed me for the first time.
you're actually not that spicy. Based on what
Wow.
I see, you're really concerned about not getting your page sucked and all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, but on the page is different. On the stream,
I
he
get
says
that.
whatever.
I totally get that. But like, if it's left up to me, that's why I don't mod. Because if it's left up to me, I will let all the spicy right wing shit go. And then delete everything I don't agree with. But that's because I'm a tyrant. I'm an authoritarian tyrant.
We're just talking about vampires here, dude.
Well, I do get where she's coming from. The problem is, like Wes knows that, you don't want to have, if we say the wrong word within 3 seconds, YouTube's going to shut this entire thing fucking down.
No, I get it. I get it. I'm
Especially,
just saying.
I think
I'm
with
not
Wes
really a movie buff. I'm
That
just
tends
a
to only be a
shitlord.
risk when we have large audiences, I'm sure. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if I had thousands of people watching these streams, then my shit would have gotten deleted a long time ago.
Yeah, even then, that's the thing with Wes knows us with our Facebook group is, definitely me and Wes, and he's showing this, we could be a lot raunchier than we are. The reason we hold it back for is because
we used to be. Yeah, we used to
that's
be.
what I'm saying. After the fucking 3rd time our Facebook group has been banned, we're like, fuck, there's plenty.
I thought it was deleted once.
No,
3
The
times.
page. So this is the 4th page.
Technically, yes.
Yes.
Technically, yeah.
That's
amazing.
Why, and that's why people say, like, trust me, you've seen with Wes, if we go offline right now, there's plenty of things we could say that we'd want to, but we don't, because after the 3rd time being fucking banned, we're like, guys.
Have you ever thought about like starting somewhere on like Rumble or another platform?
Yeah,
Like
we
Twitter
have,
group,
but it's
like people have to go to
unfortunately
the different group, the different social media platform. We're
I
Facebook
mean,
boomers.
Yeah,
ride this till the wheels fall off, I guess.
Yeah,
One thing I
pretty
can say,
much.
Meg, with Rumble, and I listen to guys like Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro sometimes, but it's the Rumble and YouTube is like Netflix. You can love or hate YouTube or Netflix. I've tried every streaming service. Netflix still has the best fucking interface. Rumble's interface compared to YouTube is shit. It's fucking awful, man. And like,
well, it's also not nearly as established.
Well, there's a couple
or
things that
nearly as
Rumble
many
needs to
people
do.
working on it.
If Rumble just added a couple little features like the mini player, little things like that YouTube does, then that's all we really need,
Especially for me. Well, for me, it's like our stream at Turtles, 6 hours. I depending on work schedule.
That was crazy.
I'll listen to the entire thing, but
This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this stream late, because it's like we start them early and they just if they all end at midnight. It doesn't matter what time we started at.
I
they end
can't-
at midnight.
I can't believe we talked about Ninja Turtles for 6 fucking hours.
Well,
The
thing
funny
is-
thing is, we still forgot a lot of things. Like, I forgot to bring
Yeah.
up the fact that the Michael Bay movies were the first time that Leonardo actually had katanas. Even though he
Yeah.
always talks about katanas, he always has ninjata or whatever they're called,
Yeah.
the smaller ones. Other couple things, so many other things. I hate to say it, but yeah, we still forgot a lot of shit.
Well, the
Hey,
thing is-
Jayhawker, do you have? I'm sorry to interrupt real
No,
quick. I just
go on.
because I know all you guys. One, I'm assuming you saw my post in the Live Love Lawrence Facebook group. Is that how
Yeah.
you found us?
Yes.
And then, do you have your own YouTube channel?
I don't.
Okay.
Kind of something that I would like to start, but I don't know how to pull in an audience.
Yeah,
It's
well,
hard.
You know, we don't do
You
This
and me
is a good
both.
way to start.
We
You
just
and me
gotta
both,
dick
brother.
around with each other, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get any audience like anyway because I wouldn't say that I'm like the most hated person in Lawrence, but
You're talking to him apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's me. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but
not very
Is
many.
this a Lawrence thing where you guys just argue over who's more despicable and shit?
I mean, Lawrence is like a big small town. It's really weird. It's like
Yes.
it's this liberal mecca inside of this conservative right wing state.
I don't know what you're talking about over here in Austin.
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar. Anytime you have a big college campus within a small town, you're gonna have a town that's pretty similar to this, but we're
Yeah.
also in the Midwest.
Yeah,
So-
don't get me started on the campus.
Oh
Oh my god.
Oh.
Who's here? Someone leave or someone come out?
no, he dropped it. He dropped
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Jayhawk
Okay,
dropped out
cool.
for a second.
Sorry.
Do you are you a big movie buff? I'm assuming.
Yes, my thing is I'm having a very hard time finding people out there that are huge music and movie fans. 'Cause
I am.
I
I'm one.
mostly like horror movies and stuff. I would say within the horror movie genre, I think the best ones that I love because they show the most blood and everything is all the Saw and Jigsaw series,
Okay.
which actually I've seen online that they're coming out with another one.
They are.
Jesus.
I thought that
I watched
Isn't it number 10 or something like that?
called
now,
Saw
or-
Saw X.
Saw X. There you go.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat X.
I'm gonna
that's
go
not,
see it.
Coming. It's not coming out till like October.
Jason
Yeah.
X. Why did they call Star Trek 10 Star Trek X? They missed an opportunity there.
Missed opportunity for sure.
Anyway,
So I have no idea what they could possibly, what kind of story.
apparently
they could
it's
tell
Jigs.
with
Apparently it's Saw 1.5. It takes place like in between events of the first and second
No,
movie. is
it's
what I
it's
heard.
actually
Ah.
between 2 and 3.
2 and 3. It's something
Yeah,
like that. It's
yeah,
like a
but, yeah.
semi prequel.
It's kind of a weird thing, but
The
I'm
thing
gonna
about
go
the
see it.
Jigsaw movies, I mean the torture porn movies, like I liked Hostel and those. The Jigsaw movies, like it just started getting so silly after a certain point where like the Jigsaw
Yeah.
killer's always 10 steps
Yeah.
ahead of everybody.
It
It's
was
like
gore for the sake of
he's like
gore without-
omnipresent practically. Like he knows the future.
Yeah.
Like he just
It
knows
was
everything.
gore for the
everyone's gonna
sake of gore with like an ever crumbling storyline.
You know,
Well, I
it's-
like.
It
I
just
mean,
got
I
worse
like
and
horror movies
worse.
like that. You know, I
Yeah.
like a good old fashioned schlock
I
shit.
would definitely say that the Saw series is kind of along the same lines as all the Halloween movies or the Scream movies. You know exactly what the killer's going to do. It's like
Yeah.
they're 10 steps ahead of the actors and everything, and they know they kind of got an idea of who's going to die and everything.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much of a surprise anymore.
How badass of a genre bender would it be to put like a master vampire in like a Jigsaw type fucking house with a bunch of traps and shit like that, and then
So
watch
it's
them have
like
to get
the
out
The
of there.
Jigsaw killer catches someone, but that person happens to be a vampire, and it's just
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah,
wait,
you know
oh
what?
shit, you're getting through all my traps really easily. How are you doing
They
that?
could be
Yeah.
half human, half vampire.
Okay.
The half-breeds.
One thing
The daywalkers.
I say with the Saw films, like the Fast and Furious films, the plots do get kind of convoluted, but I give them credit where at least every single Saw film, they don't repeat the same ways of killing people. Like the traps are fucking, at least they're imaginative.
Is there any vampire movie that has like a fucking dozen entries? I mean, I guess has 6.
No, you're right.
Yeah, Twilight has
Twilight
like 6.
the one that has the most? I mean, not counting like these unconnected 80 something Dracula movies, that are
It's like you're saying, the problem with vampires, because vampires, much like werewolves, they don't have longevity.
Well, here's the thing. There's maybe like you can count all the good werewolf movies on one hand. There's maybe like a dozen or a couple dozen werewolf movies, period. Yeah. Vampire movies, there's hundreds, if not like over 100. Dracula movies, Dracula alone, there's 84, 85 about. Yeah.
They seem to have a really hard time with werewolf.
Werewolves, require way more makeup, way more
Is that why?
Effects. Plus, it also has this Godzilla-type story plot, usually, because it's like the guy gets bit, a month later, he becomes a werewolf, Sure. Yeah. So there's always a big lull of action.
I just saw a really good one the other night on Hulu called Werewolves Within. It was really good. It was like a horror comedy.
Was it like a whodunit one? I think I saw that one.
We watched a trailer for that, me and my friend yesterday.
Yeah, it has the... Go ahead, Meg.
I was going to say, speaking of werewolves, yesterday Enzo showed me all the special effects that went into Michael Jackson's Thriller video.
Right. The werewolf transformation.
And it was like so unheard of at that point in time. But they put like, as he was supposed to go into the werewolf, they put like these ladders that were inflatable by like little air puffs behind them, balloons, and made his face go like and like stretch everywhere, and he was just like screaming and his
get away!
And it was like really I think Enzo said it was the same guy who did, what was it, Werewolf in Paris? Or
no, it's Rick Baker who did A Werewolf in London and Harry and the Hendersons, and
nice.
And he was just
Rick Baker, he's the man, he's the godfather of makeup.
And he just did all this makeup that was like, not only did he design it, but he also like invented the methods by which it goes on your face. And
when Michael Jackson's Thriller came out, I was like 7 or 8 years old. And then on top of that, they had Hall & Oates' Maneater song came out. Both of those things were out at the same time. When they came on the radio, I would start crying and my dad would call me a little sissy. He'd be like, "What is wrong with you?"
Like, oh, here she comes.
Watch out,
boys.
That was the part of No Hard Feelings.
We watched that movie. Speaking of, I'm glad you said Man-Eater, because we finally watched that movie. And I got to say, first of all, I was genuinely, like, not only shocked, but relieved when the credits were rolling. And I was like, oh, my God, this movie has nothing to do with Judd Apatow. I thought this was a Judd Apatow dramedy.
It did seem like it.
It turns out it's another dramedy by the dudes who did the one with the little kids.
By the way, quick pause. Jayhawk, I apologize. Just so you know, we go off on wild tangents. If you really thought you were going to get in here and talk about horror movies the entire time, we go left field like crazy.
It's okay.
It sounds like you start on one topic and then it runs into another topic, and
well, we're kind of just stalling until our buddy from England, he's going to wake up at like 4 a.m. We told him we were going to start this stream at 10, but then we decided to start at 9:30 because we were having some beers, and I didn't want to tell bastard our buddy to like wake up 30 minutes early. So he's going to pop in any second, and then we can presume talking about specifically the last voyage of the Demeter and why is this Dracula naked. Also wanted to talk about our other favorite Dracula movies. Also want to talk about William Friedkin, but I did also want to talk about No Hard Feelings. So I did
double check something. So there is one vampire series that I double checked has 6 films, and did you guess what it is?
Let me guess. Is it From Dusk Till Dawn?
Nope.
Anne Rice?
No.
Underworld.
Oh God!
I should have guessed that.
Underworld has 6 movies in that franchise.
Does
I have Underworld right up here.
Really?
She's so hot.
Well, remember, but one of those, one of them she wasn't in though. So
well, yeah, Kate Beckinsale. I mean, and then she was like married to the dude, the husband or whatever. The director. I'm sorry.
That's definitely. I would love to watch a film series with Enzo, because that's when I asked you last time. No, that's what I was asking about.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I've only seen the first one and maybe seen like one of the prequel werewolf one, like in passing.
I've seen the first 3 for sure.
I thought the second one was good.
Here's what I liked about him. I like how like shapeshifters. I like this idea, like, you know, the moon's full. It's a curse from hell. You turn into a werewolf. But in Underworld and The Howling and some of these other movies, it's like, motherfucker, I want to turn into a werewolf. But I'm a werewolf. Like, it's that fast. It's that easy. And I really like the transformations in Underworld because, like, that first dude, that first black guy in the first movie where he becomes a werewolf, like, he turns into a werewolf in, like, 3 seconds. And that shit looked great. It still looks good.
I remember when the first one came out, everyone I knew said, man, dude, like, you knew something with when fucking Victor first wakes up. You're like, everyone in the theater's like, that motherfucker was Victor.
That's 20 years this Halloween.
Yeah. The first
20
one.
years.
I saw the first one in theaters.
Yeah,
I remember liking the weird blue werewolf vampire crossbred guy. But here's the thing. My second video, I'm working on my Renfield video. Hoping to get that out this month. But after that, I want to work on my Traffic and Saving Private Ryan video, and I want to talk about specifically like the Matrix. One of the problems with the Matrix, you know, Jay, if you're having connective issues, you could also just watch from YouTube and leave comments, man. That'll be fine. But because I understand it's hard to get into that word edgewise. But as far as the Matrix, what it did is it caused like this big problem, which was so good. There's like all these copycats, and Underworld was one of them, where it was like, I want to see werewolf versus vampire. Yeah, tooth and claw, and we finally get a good werewolf vampire movie since The Howling 6. That's like the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
And then Underworld comes out, and what are they doing? They're wearing fucking black trench coats and shooting each other with guns in slow motion. And it's like, dude, I don't want to see this again. We just saw this with The Matrix. We know what you're doing.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's kind of why I was always turned
off. One of my favorite episodes of Tales from the Crypt was they have a vampire werewolf.
We talked about this on the last.
Did you really?
That. We have to watch that sometime.
Yeah.
That where James Bond is chasing down.
No, you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's two different
episodes.
Okay. Yeah, they have. It's like it's kind of like a murder mystery at a hotel where a werewolf has been killing people. And so
that one's called like Werewolf and Concerto, or Concerto for Werewolf, or something like that is the title of that episode.
You think the James Bond Timothy Dalton character is the werewolf hunter?
Yeah.
When in fact he is the werewolf, and then the chick he's having at Beverly D'Angelo is actually the werewolf hunter, and she's in fact a vampire.
It was like Clue, but with a werewolf. You know?
It was really, really well done. It's probably
that one was great because it starts with like the most brutal like werewolf killing. Like the werewolf stalks some old guy in the woods, fucking just murders him, like rips his throat out, and then you just see the werewolf like walking up.
There, Enzo.
We lost you. He did his.
He went out.
We lost your mic.
Well,
Enzo, we lost
I'll,
your mic.
I'll ask the panel this because Underworld does this. Also, True Blood does this. How do you guys feel about that with Underworld? Like Kate Beckinsale's fighting these werewolves. She can't beat them hand-to-hand combat because she's still a young vampire. Twilight's the same, or not Twilight. True Blood's the same way. The older they get, the more powerful they get. I think that's a cool concept because, like Victor and even in True Blood, these vampires are 1,000, 2,000 years old. They're fucking beasts. Like they're powerful as fuck because they've aged into that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so
there we go. We got you. You're there. We can hear you.
Might be a turned off echolocation. Or echo
this
cancellation.
Is, not so much about the movie, but can we imagine that she fucked Pete Davidson? What is it about that guy that he keeps nailing hot women? But like, dude,
he has good heroin.
Well, I'm gonna explain to you.
Why did she look at him and say, "I could have any man on this earth that I wanted"?
Okay, well, I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna tell you why. Okay.
All right.
So, women want what other women have. So you could be. Just like in Can't Buy Me Love, all you need is the hottest chick to grab you up and husband you up, or whatever you want to call it, and then other chicks will want to bang you because they see something that others. So as soon as he slid into Ariana Grande, then all these other hot famous chicks were like, "Oh, it's like a Fendi bag." That they're like, "Oh,
wingman." I used to wingman for my roommate who was like twice my age, and we would be out on the patio of this club, and he'd be talking to a girl, and I would walk by like all young and hot, and I would go, "You're cute," and just touch his shoulder and keep walking, and whoever he was talking to would be like, and these women would just like latch in, and then in the morning I'd be making pancakes, and they'd look at me, and I'd be like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" But Enzo, you knew that. You knew that story.
I'm going to agree with Wes on that because as I at one point was dating a stripper and all of her coworkers, after the club was shut down, some like you expect a stripper to date a certain type of guy and they would date the certain kind of guys where I'm like, you're fucking a chick that goddamn hot. Like, what's going on? I get if you're like, and these guys would drive like kind of shitty cars and they were like dressing like sweatpants and t-shirts and
because they're okay with dating a stripper.
What's like Wes said though, but some of these fucking chicks, like some strippers are like model good looking, and you're like, how are you? And I agree with Wes.
Chads are gonna be like, no, they're gonna be like, quit your job, stop stripping. I don't know. That's how they whirl. I don't know. Chad,
Enzo, how do you feel about vampires as they age? They get more powerful. That's the premise of that's Underworld plus True Blood. Is just
so I love that. That's my favorite thing. I love the idea of like the master vampire, like the vampires. There's different levels.
Supernatural TV show. Supernatural. The older vampires got the more powerful they got. So
yeah, like Stephen King. The idea is like the master vampire. Once a vampire gets like around 200 to 300 years old, like that's when they become like their hair falls out, their ears are all long and pointed. They got these long fingers, not just fingernails. But they just like literally like a corpse, like how like your cartilage like keeps growing, your hair and your finger and your nose, they all keeps growing in the casket. It's kind of like
in my favorite iteration, the Vampires novel by John Steakley, they have like 3 different stages. They have the goons, which is basically just zombies that are reanimated corpses, and all they know is they're hungry. They can't think, they can't act, they follow whatever the master
like drones.
Tells them to do. They're basically like drones.
Yeah.
Then some time goes by and they become actual vampires, and they can walk and talk and act and dress.
It's after they fed a few times, basically.
Right. And then with enough time going by, they become masters, and masters have like, they can control people's minds. They can move at superhuman speed. Exactly. They can flip. They're so strong. They can flip trucks. They catch crossbow bolts fired by the hunters in midair and snap them like breadsticks. So I mean, that's like the 3 stages, and I kind of like that. Keeps it kind of simple.
Yeah.
Well, what I've always thought of it is it's not really like in terms of like how old the vampire is. It's like how much blood it's drank. So like. Idea I just had just now, like, okay, you've got like an evil like billionaire or like politician type dude who wants to become a master vampire. So like literally like become a vampire and like somehow like funnel the blood into you, like if you have enough, like if you have like hundreds of gallons of blood and you ingest it in like a few short days, then you could become like what necessarily takes like 3 centuries to do, become like the bald like Nosferatu.
I think it would be like anything else, wouldn't it? It'd be how good you are at I mean, you can have anybody go join the military and go learn the basic stuff that they're supposed to learn, but then you would have to have somebody who might have a proclivity towards it and be really, really good at it. So
yeah, good points.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, vampires, master vampires, the idea like Salem's Lot, like the Mr. Barlow, that dude shows up. And I like it when Mr. Barlow...
he's a master. I like the idea of a master vampire because it goes past the whole, drinking blood and being stronger. It goes into like you're dealing, like they have a line that they repeat in the Vampires novel where it's like these things are basically gods. They're so fast and and one of the things they screwed up with the movie, they did the vampire very well, played by the bad guy from Cobra Kai.
Hang on 1 second. What's his name in Karate
in the
Kid?
movie?
His character's name.
And Cobra Kai,
it's driving me crazy.
Shit, I don't know. I can't think of it right now.
Terry Silver.
Yeah. Terry Silver.
Yeah,
he's the vampire. Black. Oh, look at him. He's great. He is great. And
I was watching this like recently,
yes.
like within a year or two, and I was like halfway through the movie, and I was like, that's fucking Terry Silver.
Yeah.
How did I not notice that until just now?
So, what they don't get into in the movie, but they do in the book, is that the hunters can't deal with master vampires. There's no way to get at them. What they usually do they'll figure out where they are, right? Like say they're hiding out in an old abandoned building, whatever, and they'll freaking throw C4 in it and blow the place up, and then collapse it on top of the thing so that it can't get out. And then if it tries to get out, then they have like a crane and they yank it into the sunlight because that's the only way to get at it. But unfortunately, the vampires start to become clever, and they start hunting the hunters, and so they have no defense against it. And what they wind up doing, and what they removed from the movie, which I don't understand because John Carpenter was very vocal about wanting to make a Western vampire type story. Is they remove there's a main character besides Jack Crow. Jack Crow used to be a DEA agent, and he was tracking down a cartel hitman named Felix. And Felix is one of those people that we know in the business as a gunman, someone who's so fast that like a camera can't even record his hands. That's how fast his hands are. I mean, he's a regular person, but like that's how fast he is with guns. And they come up with this like hyper silver bullet to like not kill but slow down the vampires enough. And because the master vampires can move faster than the eye can see, but so can Felix's hands, he can actually like shoot and slow down the vamp. The problem is Felix is a big pussy, and he's afraid of getting into it with the and he doesn't want. So they sort of have to con him into it, and then he winds up becoming the hero of the story, but only by like. It really takes a lot for him to get there. Yeah, very reluctant.
Well, it could be like Jack Crow is James Woods' character, right?
Right.
What a fucking stupid name. It's like
Jack
Crow.
It is. Well, he's described as like Dolph Lundgren type.
Right. I wouldn't have recast it any day. I'm just saying the character's name is silly. We were watching Time Cop. His name's Max Walker. Like they always have fucking damn names like that. But but Jack Crow's great. But James Woods is fantastic in that movie.
He is fantastic in that movie.
I'm sure it's one of those things where he doesn't want to share the didn't want to share the heroic limelight with someone else.
It would have definitely splintered the movie. They sort of make Jack Crow an amalgam of both Felix and the Jack Crow character.
He's such I don't know how much he is in the book, but in the movie he's such a smart ass. It's hilarious.
He is in the book too.
What are the other major differences in the book from the movie? John Carpenter's?
That's really it. Really?
So it's pretty faithful.
It's pretty faithful up into they remove Felix. The movie and the book both start off the same. The team goes in doing a sweep and clear. They didn't find the master, which is abnormal.
Right.
They get slaughtered at a hotel while they're picking up hookers and getting loaded. Only Jack and one teammate get away, and they take a woman who's been bitten, and it's very, very, very faithful. It goes a little bit more detail in the book where they make it all the way back to Monterey to like try to regroup, and they have like a guy that does their weapons and stuff like that, and it's at that point that he remembers that vampires can actually be shot. And so they come up with the idea of like silver bullets blessed by the Pope that can, if not kill them, at least slow them down. And then they come up with a couple other tactics that they have to try on the fly. And Felix helps them with that. But like I said, Felix is now a retired drug dealer living in California, running a bar. And he doesn't want to get into this. And they sort of lead the vampires to Felix in order to kind of coerce him into it, like, well, they're going to hunt you down anyway because they think you're with us, so you might as well go with us. And it's that kind of thing. And Felix is good at what he does, not only because he has this weird talent with guns, but he's good at what he does because he is scared. Whereas Jack and his crew are all kind of like they like to think of themselves as like samurai warriors and like 300 Spartans. Whereas Felix is like, no, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just find out where they are, blow the place up, and he comes at it from a like exactly
down.
Yeah,
during in the middle of the day.
And what's funny about this is I worked at a movie theater when that movie came out, and I remember watching it, and one of the kids that worked at the theater with me was like, what did you think of the movie? I said, I liked it. I was like, but this is stupid. Like, they go to this farmhouse where they know the vampires are at, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I'm like, why didn't they just throw some fucking C4 and napalm in that bitch and just burn the bitch down.
Gas.
Yeah,
Gas is cheap, dude.
And
throw it on
he's
the
like,
outside of the building, burn it down, and the vampires, what are they gonna do? Where are they gonna
Right.
hide? This fucking daylight.
The kid was like, that's so funny because there's a book and there's a character that talks and acts exactly like you that just thinks of it practically. You know,
see.
like so. But unfortunately, there's times like the vampires get really smart.
Right.
There's
smart.
more
they're
than
not stupid. They're
Yeah.
especially when they're 300 years old. Like that's
Right.
the idea.
right.
You know, I mean, I know you're talking about you're writing a sequel to this book. I'm also working on a vampire book, but this idea, like, the idea that these vampires, like I like in the movie John Carpenter's Vampires, like it kind of reminds me of like Game of Thrones. Like you've got the White Walkers, and then you've got the Night King. Like how much more powerful he is to all of them. Well, that's the same thing with like these master vampires. Like he shows up to the motel party where all the vampire slayers are like getting drunk.
Yes.
And he just kills them all in like seconds. And keep in
Yeah.
mind these same guys killed a whole house full of vampires.
Right.
The drones.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah, I like that. They did that very well. Like I said, in the book, they go into more detail. Like in the book, the vampires, they masquerade as humans. They're very political. They have like backdoor alliances with, local law enforcement. And so they like trick or they coerce people into like, they try to get the team arrested so that once they're arrested, they'll be sitting in a jail where they can easily go get them when the night falls, stuff like that. And then Felix, who's been running from the law his whole life, he figures out ways to get around that. So I mean, it's very like kind of cat and mouse, and it's definitely a product of the 90s when it was written. It's such a shame that the guy John Steakley was working on it and he passed away. I'm trying right now to work with his because he doesn't have much family left, but I'm trying to work with the people that are in charge of his estate to see if I can write a book and because
So you're trying to use the characters Felix again, or what? You're trying to
Felix,
use some of the same characters.
So my idea is to have it in present day and to have
so
Felix
20, 30 years later.
Yeah, to have Felix at the tail end of the things that he's done. Now he has to kind of pass the torch, and he had hooked up with this chick who was like a familiar with the vampires, and so she was at the end of the novel. She's pregnant, and so I wanted to kind of have his daughter come into play with that, and then like have to like kind of because in the book. They have to after the massacre at the hotel, they have to restructure the way that they do stuff because the vampires have figured out their tactics and stuff like that. I want to have them do that again, and the vampires have once again figured out their tactics, even though Felix is very clever, and have like a big massacre happen at the beginning of the story, and then have the daughter who is reluctant, never wanted to get into it, kind of take over it, the whole hero's journey thing. And then she comes up with an idea to get professional criminals, people who would be running from the law anyway, kind of like what her dad was. Although her dad was like a retired criminal, so he was sort of a citizen, but like she's gonna go with like straight up like a team of like actual criminals. She's gonna get and like she's gonna use her resources to get them out of
Gecko Brothers, bro. Get
right
them involved,
exactly. Like
because that's the sequel we all really want, right? The From Dusk Till Dawn sequel, where now
she's definitely gonna get a Seth Gecko type character. I'm gonna have her get like use her connections to got a couple guys out of prison, to find a couple guys that are in hiding, and then have her kind of do an end game type thing where she's gonna like really wipe them out. The whole Black Cross thing is not a thing in the book. It's just
also
ongoing.
Was Terry Silver's vampire supposed to really be Dracula? Because I know in this movie,
no,
he technically is like the first vampire ever.
Yeah, no, they don't really do that. They do have a Valak type character. They don't call him that.
But for real, like, if we did find out the first vampire ever, like in Midnight Mass, like the king vampire, it's like, well, Dracula. And it's like, no, he's not Dracula. It's like, still, we're going to call him Dracula, dude. I'm sorry. Whoever Vampire Prime is, the first vampire ever, You are Dracula. I don't care who you are. We're gonna call you Dracula forever.
Right.
I think of like Norm Macdonald. Remember how Norm Macdonald would be like a house full of Draculas? You know, there he just used the word instead of vampire.
They
Dracula.
also have in the book they also touch on werewolves a little bit, and I'd like to explore that.
Ooh.
Like have werewolves as kind of their foot soldiers and
one
stuff.
thing that I'm confused about from the book title, back to that, is now this is not in the case here, but in the other cover, like why is vampires written with a $sign?
Because they're all mercenaries that do it for money.
Make
they
lots
work,
of money.
They work for the Catholic Church, but they charge, like when they go into a town and wipe out a nest, they charge the town.
Is that like their primary?
Supposed to be the ones that fight them though?
What's that?
With the cross, aren't Christians supposed to be the ones that fight them though, with the cross and the holy water and the?
Yeah, that doesn't work in the novel. They're very 30 Days of Night type vampires. You have to hit them with sunlight, dismember them, or like you have to they figure out a couple different ways. Like if what they wind up doing is having the guy with the silver bullets hit him enough times to slow him down.
I like,
and then once they're slowed down, they hit them with a crossbow that bolts them to a structure, to the floor, to a wall, whatever, and then they hit them with some kind of accelerant, and then they set them on fire, and then they chop them up.
Well, I like this idea that in vampires, the stake through the heart, that paralyzes them. You know?
Right.
So
it
now you have
them.
a moment to actually do the actual killing of them, which is first and foremost sunlight. But if no sunlight, you light them on fire, cut their head off. You got to do the whole thing. It's fucking. They're not easy to kill.
What random memory just popped
Chris
in my
is
head
yawning.
was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where he hits the guy with a stake, and he's like,
"You're singing
it's
opera."
Herman, and he's like, "Oh, ooh,
Stop talking. Wait, stop talking. Wait, hang on. Wait, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just wait. Oh, hang on. I have it.
What?
I have it.
Oh,
wait.
Paul Rubens' death.
God damn it! I have so many. Oh, here we go. I'm so sorry, guys. I have so many. So many ready to go.
Yay! I didn't know you had that pulled up.
One of the best deaths in cinema
God,
history.
look how hot she is too, Kristen Stewart. I'm sorry.
So
Look
fucking
on.
hot.
Yeah.
Christy Swanson. Christy Swanson.
Sorry, Swanson. I know Michelle Gellar is like Buffy
Dude,
first and foremost, but she
No,
was
this
the
will
first
always
Buffy.
be
She's
Buffy
way
for
hotter.
me.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Blasphemy.
But yeah,
Blasphemy.
what you were saying about vampires, the $signs, I gotta say, I do like the idea that there's less emphasis on the money. Because here's the thing, mercenary work, hey, we need you to go to some foreign country and kill people.
Done.
For whatever political reason.
Oh wait,
it's like,
sorry,
okay.
Sorry, my bad.
I need lots of money.
That was instinctive.
Right.
My bad.
No, I know, but it's I need lots of money to do that. Done, but I do need lots of money. But with vampires, it's okay, I'll kill these vampires for free. The fact that you're paying me, bonus. Because vampires are obviously pure evil from hell. So it's one of those things where the Catholic Church could be we only have this much money to give you. It's you know what?
Well,
just give me. I know you got weaponry. Just give me some weapons, and we'll call it even. You know.
Well, see, that's actually funny you say that because that's one of the things they first appeal to Felix. Once Jack realizes Felix is the linchpin in their plan, once they convince him. The funny thing is they don't have to convince him that vampires are real. He automatically believes them. And then when he's sitting there, and after they sort of coerce him into it. And they lead the vampires to his bar, and he's like, "Well, now I'm fucking stuck with you." And Jack laughs at him and is like, "Listen, we're gonna give you $50,000 for each nest that you clear, and you're gonna get to do God's work. We're gonna go get to kill motherfucking vampires for motherfucking God."
Well,
it's the best thing.
Yeah, they kind of do say that line, kind of with that one Mexican stuntman who's very famous, or he's talking at the party with all the hookers, the strippers.
Right.
And he's like, dude, we get paid to kill vampires. Seriously, man. Yeah, it's awesome. We work for God, basically. The church pays for everything, man. That is pretty cool that you're okay, we need to kill people. It's all right, for money,
Whatever Conquistador thought, too.
Who's going to hire me? The Catholic Church. It's oh, okay, so they have money. All right, yeah, I need big dollars then. Cool.
Never-ending money.
The Catholic Church is financing me. Well, hello, 7-digit pay figures.
Right.
You know?
Right. So, yeah, that's I don't know. That really appealed to me. I read that book in 98 when the movie came out. The kid that I worked with at the movie theater handed me that book. He's like, "Hey, all that stuff you were saying, it's in this book." he's like, read it, you'll like it. And I did, and he was right. And since then, I got to tell you, man, I've read that book about 20 something times, and I'm obsessed with the idea of it. And I've been wanting to do. And then when I found out the guy passed away, in the midst of wanting to write a sequel, he wrote 2 books. He wrote Armor and he wrote Vampires. And the funny thing is, Armor is a sci-fi movie very similar to Starship Troopers, and he has the same exact characters. He has Felix and Jack in it again, but they're different. They're
different names.
They're the same names, but
the same character. Sounds
Yeah.
like you are having a hard time letting go of your character, and so you're living
Yikes.
vicariously through
oh,
these
thanks,
characters.
Dear God.
psychoanalysis, Nancy. I really needed that right
Is
now.
that too Freudian for you? I'm sorry.
Dude, way
Also,
too
hold
much.
on, Enzo, you teased me with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing. We
You're
gotta
right.
play that Pee Wee Herman thing because it's
Do
so
we
fucking
do we
good.
need to
That's
put
in,
that
that's in the top 5 deaths
we
of
don't
all
need to
time.
play the clip. I mean, you got the picture. I don't want to be
Who
Ah.
else? Who else?
Everybody remembers. Ooh, ah.
Who else saw Who else saw Christy Swanson in Playboy? Boy, she was a fucking
yeah.
bombshell.
I did not.
we were looking that. I was looking that up recently when we were
Looking up
watching The
right now.
Phantom. Remember, I was like, she has appeared nude. Yes, she appeared
The
nude.
other thing
in,
about No Hard Feelings is that you get to see Jessica or
Big
Jennifer
time.
Lawrence with her
Big time.
boobs out.
All right, listen to this though. This is funny.
You're right,
So
man.
back to
That's a movie.
we're talking about Master Vampires, Salem's Lot,
Yes.
Mr. Barlow. Here's the thing. This is actually kind of interesting. I didn't really put together, but Rutger Hauer plays main vampire dude, Dracula type dude in this movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But he also played Mr. Barlow, main vampire dude, in the TV remake of Salem's Lot, where they kind of, I don't know,
Really?
they did it. Yeah, but they did in the Stephen King books and in the made-for-TV movie. Mr. Barlow is like Dracula vampire. Like, he talks.
Still
he's
one of my
small.
favorite Stephen King books.
Stephen King sucks.
Yikes.
He
Yikes.
really does. You bunch
He's
of
got-
bundles
he's
of
got
sticks. Stephen King
yeah.
is
He's also got
gross.
shitty. He's got shitty takes on Twitter. That's for sure.
yeah.
I
like,
mean,
He's been-
yeah,
he's got a majorly inflated sense of self-importance.
he's the most prolific writer in the world.
He's a weird
So, I
Peter
mean,
because cattle are dumb.
And
Because
cocaine is
cattle-
hell of a drug.
Is it because cattle are dumb, or is it
In
because
any other situation, you would tell me it's if I told you 90% of the US watches MSNBC, you would be like, because cattle are dumb. But if I say 90% of the US like Stephen King,
Yeah, but Stephen
you'd
King
be
was
like,
on his own.
oh, but he's a genius.
Let me
No,
tell
he's
you.
really not.
can I-
It's
can
a
I
very
tell-
low reading level.
All
Let me-
right.
Let me
Agree
tell
Agree
you
to
a little something.
disagree.
No, let
It's a-
us go at it for a second. Give us
No,
this.
I'm not gonna. We don't have to go at it because I'm not 100% in disagreement with you. However, I would submit to you this: MSNBC or corporations like that, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever you think that the mass likes to ingest,
Right.
that is done by corporations and a team and many, many, many thousands of people working towards one thing. Stephen King was an almost middle-aged English teacher who really didn't feel like he was going to go anywhere, had pretty much given up on his dream of writing, and had worked on many short stories, and they kind of went to magazines, didn't really go anywhere. But then he wound up having an idea for a novel about a telekinetic teenage girl who gets her period and her powers activate, and then she winds up killing all
Right,
of her.
'cause it's always some weird pedo shit. Go on.
Okay. So he does that, but like many things that are, ideas when you're a writer, it was kind of a non-starter, and he kind of tossed it aside. His wife came in to clean his room and found the script for that, and took a look at it, her being a writer herself,
I would
and
divorce them.
and she said, "This is very interesting, Stephen." He goes, "I've never been a teenage girl. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm fucking this up. I'm just going to throw it away." So she takes it.
Say that again really slow.
He told her that I've never been a teenaged girl.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what I'm doing, writing from her perspective.
Uh-huh. But why did he want to?
Okay.
Why
said
did he write about a 10-year-old
Well,
girl
that's who-
fucking a bunch of guys in it?
Well, okay. Well, we can.
Why is everything
That's
really
fair
pedo?
enough. All right, let me finish this story, and then you can ask me those other questions. So he
Okay.
said, so he does that, and he says, I'm fucking this up. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna get rid of it and work on something else.
He wasn't wrong.
So Tabitha, forged his signature and sent it in as a spec script to Doubleday, and they accepted it. And they didn't even have a phone in their house. They had to go to the neighbors if they wanted to use the phone. And Doubleday called and said, "We will give you $30,000 for the rights to this script, and we'd like to turn it into a movie," which changed their whole lives.
Carrie.
So I say that to say this: one, don't give up on your dreams. Number two,
True.
you have talent that you don't realize you have, and number three, picking the right woman can make or break you.
That's true.
Also
Same
number
shit happened to
4.
Pablo Escobar.
Also,
I mean,
number 4, there's nothing wrong with like earning. In fact, it's kind of best when you earn the respect of the dumb masses, you know, because you've tapped into the psyche of the dumb idiots.
Now, I will
Yeah, but
certainly
that's low-hanging fruit.
certainly admit that in these later years, like I read one of his books recently that wasn't a horror novel about a Marine Corps sniper that comes home to become a hitman and gets embroiled. It gets embroiled in some, big conspiracy thing. He's way too heavy on the Democrat shit, the anti-Trump shit. He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's
an idiot.
crazy left winger on that shit. I agree.
His early books are good, or his early movies based on his books are good.
Yes, his early books and a lot of his
Misery's
stuff
good.
is. I mean,
Pet
it's
Cemetery is stupid, but I like
Yeah.
it. Salem's
I-
Lot is also stupid, but I like it.
When
Yeah.
I was at a 7th grade reading level, I was more about Dean Koontz anyway. But
Well, in Salem's Lot, you got Mr. Barlow. He's like a 300-year-old master vampire. Now, in the books and in the TV
Shut her
movie,
down, Enzo. Shut her down.
See, in the books of the TV movie, he is like a guy. His name's like, he's Mr. Barlow, and he talks, and he's smooth talker.
Was that the
But in,
sequel?
No, this is the made-for-TV remake, and also in the book, like Mr. Barlow talks. But I do like it when like Mr. Barlow could talk, but he doesn't. But he has a human familiar that does all the business for him, and
Well,
he's
in
the
the
guy.
book, in the book, he did. Salem's Lot is still one of his best books.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, it's like this one vampire shows up in town, and he buys a lot, and he owns this piece of property, and he's this mysterious Mr. Barlow, and people start disappearing, and slowly the whole town just gets turned into vampires, and
Midnight Mass stole a lot from Salem's
Oh,
Lot.
totally. But Midnight Mass was like a great remake of Salem's Lot, where it's like I'm going to remake it,
Right.
but make it better. That's
And they did.
Yeah, it was good.
Because they took the time to make you have characters that you actually gave a shit about.
Yeah.
Like if I told you Midnight Mass was the best vampire story ever, I wouldn't. No. But if I told you it was a really good remake of Salem's Lot, yeah, for sure, definitely, I'd believe.
You already know, Midnight Mass is my top 3 vampire stories for sure.
I gotta say, I just do like this. Evil demon, demonic entity. Where like I just love the when he shows up, he's like the lights turn off, the windows shatter, and then this weird shadowy shape on the floor kind of shows up, and then he like rises up, and then this weird little man with a mustache comes in the room, and he's like, "You will respect the master. The master tells you that you will do this." He's like, "What the fuck? Who are you? And who is this crazy demon?"
See, going to Catholic school and growing up Catholic, I found Midnight Mass to be very interesting because, on the one hand, and just like in John Steakley's vampire novel, the Catholic Church is the greatest enemy to the vampire, lore. But they're also, you could easily be, the worst thing for humanity in that way. Just for the fact that, like, you see how that priest and by the way, spoilers for Midnight Mass. The priest assumes that the vampire is an angel of some kind because of his misguided faith. You know what I mean? And not realizing, like, hey, this is a fucking vampire. I don't think the priest realizes that he's a vampire, and he's until like the 4th or 5th episode when the sunlight's burning his skin, and he's like, "Oh, okay, so it was vampires the whole time. My bad."
It's always vampires.
Oops.
Yeah. that. I mean, Midnight Mass.
What is?
What?
Sorry, go ahead. I
No,
was
you
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
what did you guys think about like dumb vampire spoofs, like What We Do in the Shadows? Like, how did you guys
I
feel
love that
about
one.
stuff like that?
I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
I tried watching that show on FX, and I guess maybe Enzo likes it. It's on Hulu. I watched it.
Movie. Watch the movie.
I watched that first
Yeah, the
season,
movie.
and well, I mean the TV show on Hulu right now. I watched it for a season. I didn't laugh once. I'm like,
The
this show is
movie's great.
fucking
I mean,
boring as hell.
the movie. I don't know. It definitely is
Movie's
this.
better, yeah.
It's that Taika Waititi. It's one of his better projects, you know, because like his earlier movies are good, but it's that New Zealand style comedy, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really translate too well for America. But dude, I mean, I liked. I was worried. See, I watched the movie when it came out, loved it, thought it was funny as hell, and then they're like, "We're doing the FX show, What We Do in the Shadows."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh God," but I ended up watching it and thinking, you know what, it's not bad, but I do like the movie more.
Yeah.
And I want to see the sequel. Werewolf. It's called. It's going to be called We Are Wolves. Werewolves.
Yeah.
Huh.
Did
It's
you
like,
guys
that's
see?
such a great title.
Did you guys see The Blackening?
No.
The what?
That was actually
Blackening.
pretty fucking funny.
I
The
actually
Blackening
heard-
got some legit laughs out of me. Yeah.
Yeah. I just because by the trailer.
I'm going to tell you this. This is probably pretty obvious, but I don't do well with camp. I don't like campy shit. I don't
Yeah.
like.
It was campy.
I find vampires better when it's. And yes, I do like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. But I find vampires work better when they're taken seriously, like 30 Days
Yeah.
of Night or
Yeah,
John
they're
Stieglitz
demons
vampires.
from hell that want your blood.
Right.
Did you guys see Sundown, the vampire retreat? It's back to vampire westerns. It's Bruce Campbell.
Nah.
No.
I can't remember who directed it. Someone big. But dude, that movie's nuts. And it's like I'm talking like using wooden bullets to shoot vampires in the heart out of revolvers. You know, it's fucking crazy.
How would that
um,
work?
Yeah,
Wes, that
stupid.
wouldn't work, right?
A wooden tip
That
bullet.
would not work. No, that
Right,
would not
that's
work.
what I'm thinking. Yeah, it would
That
just
would not
all.
work.
It
It's
would
the
all
dumbest-
splinter
I-
It would
along
it would
and out of
catch
the
it would
barrel.
catch fire. It would catch fire and it would burn the cylinder. It
I
wouldn't work.
remember the line specifically. It's like one vampire, an old like cowboy vampire on a horse, and like some young dumb vampire standing. And he's like pointing the gun at the young dumb vampire. It's like, "You gonna shoot me? What kind of bullet kills a vampire?" And he shoots him, and he dies. And he goes, "Wooden ones." And he like rides his horse off. And it's like, and I remember being like 8 years old and being like, "That's so stupid."
See,
The
that's
fuck?
another thing. In John Stieglitz' novel, they actually have Jack Crow be like, "Well, why can't we just get an M16 or an Uzi, and we'll just do that?" And they're like,
You know how
"Well,
expensive that silver is, boy.
yeah." Well, they're like, "No, the silver is it tends because it's not what you would usually use in ammo. It mucks up the weapon, so it can only
Yeah.
be fired from a
I
pistol."
see.
Yeah.
But even
So,
if
yeah.
even if the logistics of firing a wooden bullet worked, let's just put all the realistic stuff
Okay.
aside. Wouldn't you have to like soak it in holy water or something? Like wood doesn't kill a vampire. Like wouldn't you have to like soak it in?
That's why
holy
silver
water
bullets
or
is just
do
such a
some
great,
Well,
great.
Yeah,
right, but
silver-
not everybody
yeah.
can get silver.
Well,
Yeah,
the
that's
worst,
true.
the stupidest shit was back to fucking stupid Underworld, where it's like, yeah, werewolves and vampires shooting each other nonstop.
Yeah,
The werewolves, it's like vampires. It's like we use silver bullets for the werewolves. It's like naturally, and they use silver bullets for you. It's like no, they use werewolf killing. They use vampire killing bullets with garlic tips and holy water and sunlight encased in the bullet. It's like what?
Yeah, if you were gonna,
It's
if
like
you were
garlic
gonna kill,
tip bullets.
if you
I
were gonna
mean-
kill werewolves or vampires, instead
Yeah.
of using wooden bullets that would explode, you should probably do like a compound bow and arrow with.
actually, what I would do, and what I'm putting in my novel is we have a thing called incendiary rounds
Yeah, there
or
you go.
tracer rounds.
I'm
Tracer
very
rounds.
familiar.
Okay, yeah. So for the uninitiated who is listening, who are not familiar, who are not from Texas,
It's nobody.
incendiary rounds are what we use in the military to track the logistics of
Trajectory.
our rounds, the trajectory. Thank you. And then what you do is you put 2 ball tracer or regular rounds in your magazine, and then you stack it with the third one would be the actual tracer round, the one that will light up. So if you see like some kind of YouTube footage or something like that of people shooting at night fire exercises, I remember was the first time I was exposed to this, and it helps you, line up your rounds. And,
It's almost like a
actually-
sight, but fucking deadly to anyone who's in its way. It's almost just like
Right.
having like a sight, except
The reason
instead of
why-
having a sight,
The reason why it's impractical is because if someone's shooting back at you, now you've just given away your position with the
Exactly.
tracer round. But I mean,
But when
presumably-
vampires don't have guns, which they usually don't for
Presumably.
some reason,
yeah, presumably.
like that's something we never really see. Like, I'm a vampire. It's like, cool. Well, I've
They
got a
do it
gun,
in
too.
30 Days of Night, the sequel on the comic book. They both had weapons and were like
Fuck.
shooting at each other and
I
shit.
hate,
Yeah,
I hate to
so-
bring up this.
That's
Go on.
horrifying. So imagine like the vampires like take over the town, but they do it with like a way a militia would with guns and shit. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, we're being invaded. They're shooting people and like, but then they're like drinking your blood too, and they're like vampires. Oh my god, freaky.
I know this is like way out of left field, but what did you guys think about like that Abraham Lincoln versus the vampires
I thought
movie?
it was awesome.
I actually like that. I do like that movie. I don't know
That,
why. I
unfortunately-
have no idea why I like that movie, but I
It's
do
fucked
like
up.
it.
Like, I think
It
the
was
whole
fun.
world first heard about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter like it'd be fucking stupid. Then everybody watched it and they're like, "This movie should not be good," and it's fucking fantastic.
I
Like,
know
well,
it's like
it's a good
My
movie.
problem with it was it came
you
out
hate
like after
yourself for
the
loving it.
it came out, if I'm not mistaken, like shortly after Avatar, and it had really bad like post 3D. But other than that, like yeah, and it was done by the same guy who did those weird like Night Watch, Day Watch, Dusk Watch movies, those Russian weird supernatural superhero movies.
like-
you guys see those?
Yeah, I
They
would
were
tell
good.
anybody like, listen, I don't care how dumb any idea. An idea is only as good or bad as the execution. And Abraham Lincoln is a prime example. It sounds stupid on paper, and you watch it like, yo, come on. It's any idea
was
sounds fucking
fun.
stupid.
Well, it was
Yeah.
inevitable because
Yeah,
like it
plus,
was Pride and Prejudice and zombies, and then Abraham
that's
Lincoln.
a good. Hey, that's a good
Yeah.
movie. I will
was-
stand. I'll
That
die
was
on
a
this hill.
great book.
That,
Yeah,
that
the
is a
book was funny.
that is a good movie. That is a
That was
really
an
good
excellent
movie.
book, and I
It-
never watched the movie because, like I said, with books I don't watch the
Watch that
movie.
later,
But that was an
maybe.
excellent book.
Listen, like right now, I just seen yesterday is officially it comes out in November. It's what was it? Werewolf Santa, and I'm gonna go watch it because I want to see Santa be a werewolf. Why not? At this point, fuck it.
I really like that Werewolves Within because I like the main character. I think he's hilarious, and they put in Miljana Vantrub, the
Yeah.
chick from Lily from the AT&T movies or AT&T commercials.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
she's-
that chick.
Oh my God, is she a
God.
stunner?
Oh,
Oh,
no, I know.
Hold
I
that
know.
up somewhere. Oh my God, you
Yeah.
will
Who are we
not
talking
be.
about?
Also, the
No.
progressive
AT&T.
chick, the progressive commercial chick.
No,
Flo?
pull up Lily from
From
Google
AT&T.
Lily.
Yeah, it's not the
From
same girl.
AT&T.
I'm just saying Flo was also hot.
Lil
Flo, I never liked Flo. Oh,
I wish there was a way that we could
Yeah.
all go watch a thing in theaters together. I know it can't happen, but it would be cool if we could all go like.
Well, Chris has an open invitation to come out here.
this
Just
woman.
FYI.
No, I was
Well, I
know
actually,
who
I
you're
was
talking
actually,
about.
I was actually
no, I
googling
see
how
how it is.
I was googling how far a drive will be to West, and I'm very close to doing
Yeah,
it.
I know who you're talking about, Wes.
Yeah,
I've
she
seen this
is
girl
a
before.
smoke show.
It's
She is
disturbing.
a
She's
total
just like
smoke
she's
show.
like she's like Tina Fey but hotter and huge titties.
Oh yeah, she is just woof.
I'm
She
cool.
is.
I'm about to get some
Every-
AT&T.
She's just got this
I-
little anime face, you know.
Yes,
Oh, I mean that's
I
quite
I
that's
would-
quite a that's quite a
Blow it up,
build.
blow it up. Blow it
I
up.
would drink her dirty bathwater.
Would you pay for it though?
No.
Hey, what?
Anyway, back to blood sucking
Wait,
demons
no, I
from hell.
told you to why won't you show me this girl?
The image is we'll look it up later. You can look it up on your phone right now.
Great, I got blue balls.
Enzo,
Lily from
Enzo's gonna-
AT&T.
Yeah, Enzo's gonna pull the picture up, put it on his phone, and lay it on your back while you
He's
guys
just
are doing it.
he's just jealous. He doesn't want me to spend my time looking at other people. That's
Do it.
he's
Do it.
jealous. He's all
Nah,
jealous.
nah. We've
See?
seen that
Look,
lady.
I'm looking it up right now. Ha, 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 ha.
Who else is Why
I
don't
did,
you
so
look
don't
up
worry.
NSFW while you're at it?
Poor
Um,
Jayhawk didn't last long with us, did he? He was like,
I don't
okay,
blame him. I mean,
these guys are psychos.
He was having connection issues. I mean, in the future, I guess like keep the. By all means, spread the link, but keep it to like movie people.
I don't know. Yeah, I think
Lawrence,
this is a very no. Believe it or not, this is a very artistic, town.
West.
So-
Oh, okay. You just put it in your local town's like square. I'm gonna put my next link in my Talk of Alvin page for see who shows up. That'd be funny.
But yeah, I mean, you're the one that accepted him, so I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna
But
throw
you
anyone down.
invited him.
I mean,
It's so good. Hey, and Jay
I-
Hawks, thanks for coming. Obviously, I mean, shit.
Thank
sorry
you,
couldn't
yes.
get it. Sorry you couldn't get a word in edgewise. I hope you're watching it on YouTube. You're probably not. I don't think you have the link. Probably.
If you are, jump in the chat.
I put the link. I did put
For
the link with
StreamYard.
the invite. Yeah, I did put
Okay.
them together. Basically, the same thing that you posted. I just reposted, basically. So.
Well, where is Northern English Bastard? Like,
I
wasn't
don't
he
know.
supposed to be in here by now?
Maybe he's not woke up yet.
I
I mean,
don't know.
that's early.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
early as fuck for them. Like
That's
we're
true.
in different time zones. I don't even know what I'm wanting to say. It's probably like only like 4
I'm
something in the
glad,
morning.
West Griff needs. Everyone needs to be on American time. It's a problem.
When I was on vacation, I was exactly 12 hours away. Or no,
I am
7
actually gonna take task with you on that, blue collar, just because you do know that a good fifth, maybe even more
Yeah.
of our group is from the UK. So we need to be like all of the
Guys,
comments. Yeah, go ahead.
accommodating.
He's 5 hours ahead, so that means if he wakes up at 4, that means he's implying I'm gonna come in at 11 your time. I'm gonna come in an hour late so I can.
Yikes!
And I was like, oh,
Are you
okay.
guys saying you're
We
trying
started 30 minutes early.
There goes Enzo again. So, anyway,
Jeez,
That was
he's-
just my dumb check. I was saying, are you going to try to be a comment dating? Because I'm a fucking dad.
damn, mom,
A,
Okay.
com-
cut the
a
cord.
comment, a
Good God.
comment dating.
Can you guys hear me?
I'll sue myself.
Yeah, now we can.
yeah.
Is it my mic cutting out, or is it just like the internet cutting out?
We're not sure.
It's not the
Well, it
internet
seems like
because I'm
both.
fine over here. It's not the internet because I'm
Hmm.
30 feet away from you.
So Meg isn't a problem. It's just Enzo.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Gay.
she wears the pants. Come on.
I love this new mic. I love this
Also
mic.
my
Don't make me have to get a
Wi-Fi
new mic already.
extender, but
Giggity.
Giggity.
So I know 30 Days of Night won this contest over like who was
Oh,
the
Jesus.
deadliest
They
vampire.
did. Yeah. Thank you for paying attention to that. I do appreciate
Yeah.
it.
We could do a whole fucking stream just on this movie alone. Holy shit.
I thought From Dusk Till Dawn would have won because like titties, they're like the sirens.
No,
like,
well,
luring
because
men
the
in.
question, no, because the question wasn't like what's your favorite or what's the best genre bender,
Who's the-
which it was which vampires you're stuck in a town with the vampires, which ones are the least survivable, and I think we can all agree that out of those choices, anyways, 30 Days a Night would be pretty fucking hard. I mean, these guys weren't fucking around.
No, I love for 30 Days of Night. My only criticism for 30 Days of Night is the stupid sound they make. Jesus Christ!
yeah. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate
Every
it.
person can make
I
that
mean,
noise.
Well, I don't know. That kind of scared
You-
the shit out of me a little
You
bit. I'm not gonna
literally
lie.
just inhale, guys. Inhale and close your windpipe
Listen.
and inhale real loud. It's like
I think I said this on another stream. I was still in the military when this came out, and
Yeah.
I went and saw it on a whim. I was on standby duty, which is basically like be
Yeah.
prepared to go to work, but you're not really go to work. And I mean, it's the Army, so they can pretty much do what they want with you.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, since I have to stay awake and I have to stay sober, let me go, and I'm in uniform. Let me go to a movie in the afternoon. So I went to Kansas City and I went to the Legends Theater, and I was like, just picked this at random because it just happened to be playing when I needed it to be playing. I wanted to see Smoking Aces at the time, but I went and saw this instead. And I watched this movie, and I'm not gonna lie, man. I was touching my Beretta, which was on my hip. I was like, check it. I was like making sure it was there. Like it was scary, man.
Well-
This movie kind of scared me a little bit.
And
I'm not
let's
gonna lie.
say this was another great movie I watched in prison.
did you finish your lemonade?
I was
Chris
thinking-
brought
Did you
up prison.
finish your
Chris brought up
lemonade?
prison first. It wasn't me this time. Chris
Drink,
brought up
everybody.
prison first.
All right,
Drink.
here we go.
Everybody drink.
There were so many great.
Chris has
movies.
been bringing it up first lately a lot.
I know.
Like,
I watched a lot of TV in prison. Okay, with
One
So-
of the-
a lot of
one
guys.
of the
I was
things
excited about 30 Days a Night because I was familiar with the comic book. Here's a funny story. It's funny because like vampire comic books, like I had already had an idea for like a vampire story a long time ago, like in high school. And it was like vampires in, the northern hemisphere, not necessarily Alaska, but like, yeah, where it's dark all the time. And it was like, my story was like, kind of like like have a military type school, like kids on lockdown in a fucking school getting invaded by vampires in this kind of dark 30 Days of Darkness. And it was called Northern Lights. And I was telling people about it. And they were like, oh, you mean kind of like 30 Days a Night, borrow Alaska. And I was like, oh, shit. So I, got familiar with the comic book, and that was cool. So now, funnier story, flashback. So I was excited for the movie when it came out, by the way, because I was like, excited. The book was good. But now flashback to my book, what is it? It Drinks Your Blood. I wanted to call it American Vampire for the longest time. And, of course, it's like there's a huge comic book called American Vampire already. And it's like, yeah, well, shit. I don't know. I mean, I'll just change the name. And, It Drinks Your Blood. It's a good title. Another good title I was thinking of was Vesperillion. But that is like bat-like, like a reptilian, Vesperillion. But my
It's
vampire
also
isn't really
way
bat-like.
less likely to come up in a search.
Yeah. I thought it would have been cool to keep vampire in the title.
It's hard to come up with titles. I mean, I
I like It Drinks Your Blood. I like this, like, this like 1950s horror sound of it, and it's pretty much what it is. It doesn't matter what it is because it drinks your blood. Call it whatever you want. A vampire.
I haven't launched this, and it'll be my first time to say it out loud in public. But yes,
your OnlyFans.
but I do embroidery.
Are we getting a discount? Are we getting a discount? Okay.
Listen,
God damn it.
I do embroidery and meme stuff and sewing and a bunch of stuff, and so I am opening a company called. Are you ready for it? Thread Pilled.
Yeah.
What the
Love
fuck?
it. Love it.
Thread Pilled.
Do you like
Funny.
it? Thread Pilled.
I love it. I love it so much. I love it
You
so
already
much.
trademarked it and stuff, right?
I already got the URL and everything.
Okay. Because like you can't be talking about any plans like that. You're like so.
No, you gotta cut that out so nobody can steal my idea. You gotta.
I can't cut it out. I'm not
Yeah,
cutting
you
it.
can. You fucking edit these videos. Yes, you can.
No, but the live video stays up forever.
Enzo, what are you doing? You gotta cut it out. She gotta tell you. She gotta
No,
make a,
you guys, the
make it a
URL's
business.
already bought. Go to threadpill.com. Go visit
There you
go.
threadpill.com for all your
Go buy my-
stupid
Go buy my
embroidery
shit.
nonsense.
Threadpill.com.
The
It's not
crocheting
just
OnlyFans.
embroidery. If you want a meme to hang on your wall, go to threadpill.com.
But yeah, so in 30 Days a Night,
Mm-hmm.
that overhead shot is so fucking.
Yeah.
I mean that
That was
still
one of those
gets me.
times where I did rewind a movie like on DVD. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta watch that again a couple times, see what's
That
going on
was
here.
like, man, that shit was because it's like it's crazy because the people are all armed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not going after soft ass targets. They're
No.
not like, you know what I mean? Like these are like
shotguns
these are
and
like
shit.
these are people.
You
who
see
don't
the
fuck
vampires
around.
get shot. You see them like
Yeah.
take bullets and shit.
Yeah.
They're like monsters from hell,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fucking visceral.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
And I like how, like in like the word vampires only said once, in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like they're like
What's
vampires or
what's
something.
the vampire movie that you guys think has the absolute best graphics? Is it that one?
No, dude, 30 Days a Night. It's funny because it has nothing. I mean, technically this could be zombie-like, but dude, the axe scene in 30 Days of Night.
Yeah.
When they cut that dude's head off with an axe, that is like the most
hardcore
hardcore axe cutting off scene I've ever seen.
when you say graphic, what do you mean? What do you mean exactly?
Like
Best
the
special
kind
effects.
of thing where it almost made you like wince and you wouldn't wince and look away, but it would make most people wince and look away. You know, what I mean? Like just really gnarly.
It's between
and hardcore.
it's between this and
From Dusk Till Dawn.
and
Honestly-
no.
Honestly,
From Dusk Till-
there's a lot of fucking great makeup and effects in the first Fright Night. There's just a lot of fucking
Yeah.
really good shots.
Yeah.
in Fright Night.
Yeah,
So-
there
I
is.
love Fright Night.
Fright Night is great, except for me growing up
Yo,
with.
look at that shit. Come on, that's
Yeah.
When
Except
I
for
was a kid, that scared the shit out of me.
Fright Night is so great because of the music, the tone, and the story. A little high school kid lives next door to a fucking vampire.
Yes, it is.
He's trying to tell the neighborhood and the police, and nobody believes him. It's the boy who cried wolf with a fucking vampire, and the vampire wants to fuck your girlfriend.
Yeah, until you get a little older, and the girlfriend is Marcy Darcy from across the street.
Dude, I forgot.
Famous lesbian.
I can't take that movie seriously anymore. Looking at Marcy Darcy.
I've always liked that. I've always liked that it was Marcy Darcy because I've always thought she was cute.
No.
I liked her.
I can't. I can't. I just can't. I can't take it seriously.
But really definitely the girls were an upgrade in Fright Night Part 2 for sure.
Hell yes.
Because
that's
Charlie Brewster's new girlfriend is hot, and then the vampire bitch is this dude, Charlie Dandridge's sister, I guess. Is like, and she has a cool name like Maxine or some shit.
Isn't that do you remember that scene where him and his girlfriend are making out in the car? And the vampire's on top of the car.
Hell yeah. She's always wearing like dark blue.
She's running her fingers in a circle around the top of the car. Yeah. And it's making them be more aggressive sexually. I was like, God damn, man. This is great.
Like one of the few times, like crazy trans vampire lady who was fucking awesome. Freaky, like black trans lady on the rollerblades. I don't know if it was a trans person, but just like a weird looking woman or man. I don't know. But yeah, it's like those two ladies, like vampire ladies, are like sharing that Chinese girl together, like drinking her blood and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what the fuck? And it's like
the sequel's really good. The sequel's
great.
Really good.
I view those two movies as one long movie. You know, that's how I like
That's
it.
fair. That's fair.
I know we go on tangents, but I have to ask you, the three of you, that did you ever? I had to, just for the hell of it. Did you ever watch the fucking Colin Farrell, the remake?
Yes, I did, and I liked it.
I did. Yeah,
I didn't see the sequel to that though. Apparently, there's a Fright Night 2 remake, and I did not see that.
The only thing, obviously, generation wise, I didn't like sometimes. You know, obviously Colin Farrell. They used way too much fucking CGI though.
Yeah, I didn't like the in-form vampire as opposed to I like this reserved kind of vampire makeup. That's the thing we were talking about werewolf movies. Like werewolves, like dude, if the werewolf doesn't look good, you're asking a lot, to make a werewolf look good.
It ends up like because we had Tubi, my son. He's like we before we watched American Werewolf in London yesterday. My son, I pulled up the clip where you're talking about the fucking werewolves waking up and vomiting and stuff. But we watched the whole Joe Rogan interview talking to Baker there, who made the werewolf, and man. The fucking the work that went into American Werewolf in London. My son is fucking 16 years old.
So did he like the movie?
Oh, he loved it. And considering
so funny, right? That's the best part about it.
That's what we talk about. Fuck, that movie came out fucking 42 years ago.
When he wakes up naked in the zoo, like that's terrifying. And then it's the funniest shit ever. When he's like got to steal balloons from the kid and shit. He's like, hey kid, come here. Why? If you come here, I'll give you £1. It's like I want to give me a balloon give me those balloons for £1. I'll give you £1. I'll give you £2.
Yeah, we fucking watched that 15-minute Joe Rogan interview and talking to the makeup designer. The werewolf transformation, and to this day, it could be debated. It's like the greatest werewolf transformation of all time. Yeah. Back in fucking 1981,
the audience applauded. The audience stood up and applauded when it happened in the movie theaters. And also, they invented the Oscar for best special effect makeup because of that movie.
And he was talking to Joe Rogan about the whole way they had to do that. Like they basically shot the whole scene in reverse. And it's amazing just the
and
detail.
It took like several days or weeks to do that one like 5-minute scene. Yeah, Rick Baker. Yeah, we were talking about him earlier. He turned Michael Jackson into a werewolf as well.
Yeah,
but he turned Michael Jackson into like a were-cat, a were-panther.
Well, the fucked up part about the whole fucking process is when his eyes are red, he goes, that wasn't contacts. He was so fucking tired from doing a 15-hour day that his eyes were actually that fucking red from being overtired. Like, that's fucking sick, man. That's when actors would put these guys would do 20-hour takes, and they're just like, they're suffering physically to get a one-shot scene. Like, man.
I didn't mean to call you being
blue color. Blue color, you know what makes me laugh? I think you're having a hard time letting go of last week's stream because you're still wearing your Ninja Turtles shirt.
I love this
Oh
shirt.
no!
Yeah.
Are you still living in the past?
Nah, he
You,
just
you
hasn't
can
changed.
just let it
Well,
go.
well,
We're done
to-
with it. You can just let it go.
Chris,
The
what are
point I
you
was the point I
doing?
was making earlier to that we lost track with the fifth guest right there was that same with YouTube is that when we do a 6-hour stream, I listen to half-hour segments, and YouTube, at least when you pause it, you come back on YouTube and it restarts. It keeps it where you left off.
Yeah.
Rumble, it's like fuck it. If I don't
Listening,
Right. Yeah.
I don't have time.
listening to Stupenzo's edited versions of our fucking live
Yeah.
stream was like watching a like Pulp Fiction on regular TV, where they like you mother freaker, you better
Yeah.
I'm gonna bust a cap in your
Well,
butthole.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but towards the end, I started adding like totally random bleeps,
Yeah.
so it just made it seem like we're cursing way more than we were.
Well, this is the point I was saying. Like, not everybody has like 6 hours to listen to a fucking stream. So, like, even with me with work, I
No.
will listen to 2 hours at a time and pause it. And Rumble, the biggest problem with Rumble and other
Yeah.
streaming services that Rumble, if you pause, you're fucked. And Netflix, same thing. Netflix, I will pause a film or TV show, and it says like it says the continue watching tab. And other streaming services like Peacock, I like Peacock, but like their fucking player is shit. It's like, guys, if you
Yeah.
want to compete with YouTube, you better start fucking fixing features like that, because someone can do a 5-hour stream and nobody wants to keep restarting a fucking 5-hour
No.
stream.
No.
Like, come on, guys.
I will part with a secret that I went to the gym the other day and I listened to the rest of our stream because
Yeah.
I'm such a narcissist. Like that, like I just like listening to myself run my mouth, and I'm like, God damn, I'm so funny. I'm so funny. I was like, I'm laughing as I'm like lifting weights. People are like looking at me like, what a fucking weirdo. What are we
I do it all.
listening
I mean,
to?
dude, I do it all the time when I'm editing these We Watch videos, especially when it's been like when I watch these We Watch videos and then like a few weeks or months go by and now I'm editing it and I'm kind of listening to it again for the first time. There's so many times where I like causing myself to like bust myself laughing.
I played the part of the Ninja Turtle stream for my bar because we closed early the other night,
Oh my
and
God.
I played it. We had like 6 people sitting there, and then 2 bartenders, and then me. And then I played some of it, and one of the bartenders was like, "Have you ever thought that like you can have a?" He's like, "Did you ever consider you could have a thought come into your head and you just not say it out loud? Has that ever occurred to you?"
But what part did you play then?
I played the
Was this
part
the
where
stream or the Turtles recap?
it was part of the Turtles recap.
Okay.
Where I was
Because we
like,
said so many off tangent crazy
We
shit
did.
on the fucking
Yes.
full stream,
Well,
dude. There's
the
so
part-
much I got rid of.
the part that got everybody rolling was where I was like, I was talking about the yellow Power Ranger was Asian because she was yellow, but she was also dead because she died in a car wreck. But she was also dead because she was Asian, and Asians can't drive.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
No, I said Wes. I
remember
told my girlfriend. It's like I was like, my friend Wes said he wants to do a power couple with Ryan Reynolds because he could be a better man than Blake Lively.
I can though. I can.
Yes,
I can.
I can see Wes fucking Ryan Reynolds. I was like, but Henry Cavill, because when
Dude,
men,
Oh, I'm not trying to take that dick. That thing's too huge. I'm not taking that fucking cock. That
He's
thing's
like, he's got reverse gorilla
with that
thing where
guy,
he's got like
he's not.
tiny arms and like big legs, but his like arms are like
You know,
swole,
and
but
so
they
the
look
funny
short.
part is my girl said so many times, said, Chris, I like Henry Cavill. Why is his arms seem so small for his body?
Yeah, I've said the same thing. A lot of people say it.
Yeah,
pull it up.
He's got some. He's rocking some enormous cock. There's no way
Henry
he's not.
Cavill. Well,
He's
I
got
don't
enormous
know,
biceps.
maybe
Yeah.
Henry Cavill shirtless.
Jesus
Let's
Christ,
see.
I can't.
I'm not willing to
Yeah.
risk my butthole looking like a Skippy jar for fucking Henry Cavill.
Skippy jar? My God, man.
I am
You sick
That's
fuck.
funny.
the fucking
That's-
imagery that you just painted. You're
Well-
you're really good at painting pictures in someone's
I
mind. That's just
I
not
am
the
an
one that I
author.
wanted.
You know what, man?
Remember when I said
I
on the
am
turtle
not-
stream? I remember I said on the turtle stream where it sounded like Toxic was trying to hide a cat in a fucking filing cabinet. That shit was good. I was like,
I
that's a
listened
lot.
back to every time fucking West was doing something in the background. I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, I realized that.
I was like, why the fuck are all your ceiling lights fluorescent? And he was like, that's classified.
Yeah, I signed an NDA. No,
I live
but
in a bathroom. I live in a public restroom.
I realized that I was like, I was trying to like set up my bed for the night. I was like, so I have to like set up this army cot type thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man. I've re-listened to our stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, it does sound like I'm hiding a body or something like that.
Yeah.
What if Toxic is like that guy from The Terminal, like Tom Hanks from The Terminal, and he's just in an
He's
airport?
like living in an airport
None of
somewhere.
us ever realized it this whole time. He's just been on airport Wi-Fi. Like
I built a room in Kansas City International Airport, and I just live there.
Well, in the restroom. Well, you're just like one of the restrooms just looks like it's always out of order, but it's like you're just like on your computer.
I'm actually
arguing.
I'm in the Lawrence, Kansas McDonald's, and you know how the ice cream machine never works?
Yeah.
I'm behind the ice cream machine.
You're in the ice cream machine, like a little Men in Black alien.
I tell you, Mike, I did Google Meat driving to West.
Anyone will ever look.
It's about a 20-hour drive to West. It's gonna be worth every second when I get there.
Oh yes, it will.
So funny.
Yeah, but dude, the thing about you is that you're like halfway between me and Enzo, and halfway between. Well, maybe not halfway.
Yeah.
New York's a little closer, but
I'm gonna drive to West's fucking spot just to play the goddamn Turtles arcade machine.
Yeah.
There's nothing keeping us from meeting somewhere. Like,
did you see the picture? Did you?
Yes,
I sent you guys the picture, right?
I did.
Yeah.
It was dope.
Like what West pulling out,
Real
he's like,
deal.
so you guys aren't impressed by this? I'm like, I was too drunk to understand. On the replay, I got it better. Like
I was like, to be fair, like I'm always like browsing other tabs and running the show, and you say
at that.
something, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
Look at that manly chest hair.
But he
Holy
does
shit.
seem like he
that's
has
the guy we're supposed to be impressed by.
he does seem like he have tiny arms though. Not tiny, but just like not. It's not like they're not tiny arms. Like he's got huge biceps, obviously.
Okay,
but it
so
just
let me
seems
tell
like
you guys
his
something as a
arms
woman.
should be longer.
As a woman, okay.
You know when you see a woman at a bar or wherever, and she's like wearing a tight dress, and she's got a fucking 10 body,
Yeah.
giant boobs, giant butt, perfectly
Okay.
flat stomach, all that, high heels,
Holy
long
shit.
legs, all the stuff, right?
I just went from 6 to midnight again.
One long
Just think.
leg. Ha,
So
ha, ha.
imagine,
Two long legs. Ha, ha,
Meg, say
ha.
that slower.
imagine that like this is our version of that, right? It's not really my version of that, but still, like Jason Momoa, whatever these guys or these girls like lose their shit over. So
Mm-hmm.
with girls who are like that, they're always shitty in bed because they think
Right.
just being hot is enough, right?
Yeah,
And they just
I
lay
met girls
there.
like that. My son's
Yeah,
mother.
and so like, are these guys just shitty in bed where they're like, oh, okay, just be impressed about my hotness, just be impressed about my muscles, like
No, there's no way.
Yeah,
dude, he's
I'm
Cavill's an ace Bushman.
I'm with
can
Wes.
fucking-
Like, if I was
Yeah.
with Henry Cavill,
Yeah, dude,
I'm,
he used to bang Gina Carano. He's banging.
Oh Jesus!
Like you see his
Yeah.
exes, and it's like, yeah, he's.
Yeah.
Dude,
Wait,
he's
you guys
slayed.
think
He has
being
slayed
hot-
some ass.
do you think that being hot in general, not this guy, but like being hot in general
Oh,
as a
definitely.
guy makes you lazy in bed the way it does with a
I've
girl?
definitely met girls that were so
No,
good that they didn't have to try.
because unlike other hot guys, I am a hot guy that used to be fat. So
We're not talking about you, okay?
Oh,
We're talking
okay.
about.
And I have a
like
small.
a man who's always been hot is bad in bed. I don't
Right.
think so. I think the thing is like men who are like they're probably better in bed because they're like experienced bushmen, like Wes said. Like they're just fucking all the time, and it's like you got to keep a woman satisfied. You can't
Right.
just be like satisfying a woman with your looks and
No.
that's it.
Right.
No, I see what Meg is saying, but no, Henry Cavill. The way
At a
he
certain
talks
point,
in
you'll be
interviews-
wondering why these women aren't sticking around, why they're not crying when you break
Right.
up with them. You know,
That's because they can't.
Yeah.
handle- they can't handle-
Or better yet, crying when you fuck them, which is what
Yeah.
you really want.
I've had that
yeah,
happen.
why are they not fucking like breaking down and shivering and
Yeah.
quivering and
Right.
leaving?
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
mean, maybe they are.
I want to leave them a quivering mess when I'm done with them.
But-
That's
Jesus
what I want.
Christ.
I can't disagree with that.
I've
Like,
had
I
that.
mean,
See?
if you're
See?
gonna engage, fully engage.
But
Yeah,
the idea
I-
is,
I'm
if
gonna
you're
make
insinuating if I had been like a gorgeous man my whole life, I would be a lousy lover. I disagree.
No, you have been a gorgeous man your whole life. What are you
I
saying?
don't think so.
Look at Enzo.
Yeah, definitely not.
I'll see you with your shirt off. Come on, man. I see that video. That
I'm not
chest-
gonna like go into details about it, but there's no.
I mean, he has a good head of
there's
hair.
no
I'll give
issues
him.
there.
I'll
I
give
mean,
him
I'm
that.
a good. I'm like over 5. I'm at least over 5. You know, I'm
Yes.
Oh
over
my
mid.
You are a hard 5. You are a
I'm
hard
mid.
5.
I'm definitely like 6 something. You know, 5 or 6 area.
I mean, we were good at 5. 5.1.
I'm sure
maybe
the carpet matches the drapes.
You guys have actually never seen me up close, which is funny. Even the
Yeah.
picture I sent in the group chat.
me and
So-
Meg, me and Meg are a pair of 5s, so we make it 10 together.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. But I mean, a chick doesn't really have to be. I mean, you know, a chick just has to be.
Megan's
willing and-
beautiful.
Yeah, she is. She is. She's very beautiful. But you just
No,
got to
you
be.
don't know that at all. I could
You-
be.
you gotta
like,
be-
burned on my. I could be burned all over my face, and you guys wouldn't even know. 'cause you
I
never
mean,
seen
as
me.
long as your
Oh, we would
tits are
be-
nice, yeah, you don't have to have a head. As far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
As long as
Meg,
your
your-
titties
your-
are nice, you
Your
don't
atti-
need
your
to be a
attitude
burn
is
victim.
beautiful, Charlie.
I mean, listen, my last
You're
girlfriend,
beautiful on the inside, Megan.
my last girlfriend was in for involuntary manslaughter and
Jesus
treated
Christ.
me like shit.
You always
And-
have a fun story.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So I mean,
Me and
You
Wes
know,
have the
I
same
mean-
kind of exes.
yeah, we do. Hell,
We do.
I hooked
That's similar
up
taste
Chris.
in women.
I hooked up Chris with one of my girlfriends, my latest girlfriend's
That's what
cellmates.
people about my son's mother. They don't believe me. I'm like this. I can't make this shit up, guys. Like,
That's
Christ.
what I look like, guys.
Oh wait, what are we doing? Oh my God!
I
Oh,
wish-
let's see her
Oh.
face.
Like when she was looking up.
Megan.
With her mouth open.
Wow.
Look how Irish she is.
She's Irish.
She's like
as fuck.
Irish and German.
Jesus, boy, does she have a potato face going on right there.
I did Enzo.
What's up? You know she knows her way around some fucking corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah.
Holy
Corned
crap!
beef.
Look at the pooper. Look how she like pretends like she didn't mean to throw her butt in the camera's
Yeah,
face.
really.
I really
like-
did. I was just trying to come back to my bed.
Look, Jesus.
I did that just for you guys.
I can't wait to rewatch this.
Henry Cavill. Yeah, where
Anyway.
now I'm worried where Bastard is. If he wanted to sleep in, obviously no worries. I mean, damn, dude.
Fucking limeys.
I mean, are you sure you sent the
Fucking
link?
limeys.
Those fucking limeys. Those fucking wankers. Christ.
I'm trying to
I
think of like how
that was-
Bastard's English accent is. His is very you know,
His is very.
Northern English.
I don't understand Londony.
Northern English.
Yeah.
You sound like you're from London. Like he messaged me. He was like, I need to
So
work
they-
on my accent. I'm like, yeah, we couldn't understand a fucking word you were saying.
Oh,
You sound like you had fucking. It sounded like
It's one of those
Mr.
things where I just like nod and I keep talking, and then like a couple seconds later I kind of piece together what he said, and I'm like, okay, yeah. That's good.
yeah. It takes a minute for it to trickle into your snake
Yeah.
brain. He's
That's
like,
why-
He says it's funny because he's the one I had to bleep the most on the stream. You know,
Yeah.
he's like fucking
"Oi,
fucking
oi,
I
fucking,
had a fucking thing.
Dave
And I
fucking
think like the fucking
turtles.
Leonardo. He's just
Oh,
fucking,
Leonardo.
fucking
That's why I s-
Donatello, he
I
took a
said that-
stick and he called
fucking.
That's
And
why I
he'd,
said,
say, he'd like mumble it a lot too.
I said
fucking.
that. I said a joke, but I joke with my dad when Snatch first came out. Dad's like, Chris, you can. I defy you to watch Snatch without the captions on. Go ahead,
Oh, of
by all
course.
means.
Yeah.
Jesus
I don't watch
Christ.
any movie without
God, I
captions.
hate captions.
I know.
hate
Megan's
captions.
got OCD.
Well,
You
my
know,
thing
Megan's
is-
got crazy OCD where she like counts numbers and shit, and
Yeah.
letters and stuff. So
Yeah,
So that's why she hates
I'm
subtitles.
This is not unbelievable.
Like you guys don't understand.
yeah, let me give you an example of what happened today. Megan's
boy.
talking about
boy.
how she's
Jesus.
33. And she's upset to be 34
Oh,
because
you poor
33
thing.
is a perfect
No.
number. 3 by 3 equals 9, and it's prime. And she's like,
It's
she
the
says,
perfect square. It's
the
She
perfect-
hit
only
40.
reason,
Jesus.
the only reason why I want to be the only good thing about being 34 is 3 plus 4 equals 7.
What the fuck?
Jesus.
And I'm like, what?
Isn't
That
it?
is a
Isn't
crazy
it weird?
woman. That's a
Isn't
crazy
it-
woman sentence on a bar, like waiting at a bus, you know, with a cup for change.
That's what
The
it
only
said.
thing, the
Like
only
a
thing good about
homeless
34
woman.
is 3 plus 4 equals 7.
Isn't
Like,
it?
that's
Isn't
something-
it weird how women get away with saying, even if they're just marginally attractive, they get away with saying like the
Oh, she didn't
crazy.
get
No,
away with
I'm,
that.
I'm fully insane.
She didn't get
Like,
away
I'm-
with it. I laughed
have-
so hard at her face when she
No,
said
but I'm
that to
saying,
me.
like,
I was like,
I'm
what?
saying- Right, but you guys are in a relationship. Like if you just met her at a bar and she pops off with something like that, or when
Nah,
they
bro.
go like,
I keeps it
Oh, he
real.
went
I keeps it
to-
real. If she was a
There-
stranger, I would have been like, "What the fuck did you just say to me, lady? 3
you
plus
meet
4 equals 7?"
you meet a chick and she's just like, Yeah, I'm really big into
But he
astrology,
didn't finish.
and I'm
he
an
didn't,
Oh my
he
god,
didn't finish the
astrology.
story. The end of the
Right.
story was that I looked at him and I said, "What am I gonna do when I'm 44? Because then it'll equal 8, and it's not
oh,
an odd
you might not
number."
even, honey, you might not
He
even
was
live that
I
long.
just kind of got up and
Probably.
left.
Probably, but he just
I just,
went
like,
and
shook
turned
my head
around
and
and
just,
went
like,
into the
walked.
house and was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And went back.
So
to
many
bed.
things,
I'm-
things may kill you in the next 10 years.
I
You don't
spent too
even
much time
know.
with Wes because as I'm
Oh,
thinking,
I hope so. I don't want to live to be old.
as I'm thinking of Wes is saying, I'm like who's the? You're not gonna live that long.
Right.
Forever.
I'm like 13 years past when I thought my expiration date was going to happen.
Yeah, he looks it.
So-
I was talking to Enzo about retirement, and he was like, "We're not going to live that long, right?"
Yeah.
Or we'll live that long, but it's like retirement won't be a thing. Like we'll
Yeah,
all be,
really.
living in a cottage in a field like everybody else.
Isn't
know,
that
tended to
the
our-
isn't that the funny thing about like vampires? You're like you have to go through all this issue to go suck blood and hide out from the sun and shit. And like, dude, that's just all that shit. Like doing this regular
Yeah.
life seems exhausting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having to go through all that shit and
Well, that's the
fucking
thing. Yeah.
yeah?
It's
Would
a
not
terrible
do it.
life. You're like living in the shadows, like preying on people, but you're gaining power. That's why it becomes worth it. Like you can read people's minds, you can fly, you can turn into mist.
It didn't make it in my top 3, but I do like that. I do like that story. Let Me In.
Let the
you
right
know,
one in.
I was
I like
gonna-
the Swedish one.
I was actually
Yeah.
asking about that because I watched both of those in prison.
Yeah, they're both good.
Of course
I
you
like
did.
them both.
Hey, Blue Collar's going hard on the prison shit tonight when I've been pretty.
Well, we keep
lenient
bringing up
about it.
movies that came out around 2008.
Oh well,
No,
all right,
the
fair
funny
enough.
part is Jail had both of those versions, and surprised me, both versions were pretty good. And
Yeah, both
Which
versions.
which one's better?
I'd say honestly the Swedish one.
I do
Is
like the
it?
Swedish one better.
Yeah.
I like the pool. I like the pool attack
I'm-
scene. It's filmed better,
I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen
and
it.
I like.
Do you guys remember who's in the American version?
It's
Oh, it's been a-
little
shit.
homegirl.
Elias
No,
Koteas. Elias
Oh, yeah.
Koteas, old
Yeah.
Casey Jones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I
the
was thinking of
detective.
other movies that he's in. He's in Simone.
Yeah.
He's in Crazy Crackhead, where he gets killed. At Pupil. He's in At Pupil, where he's that homeless
Shooter.
dude. That
He's in
he's
Shooter.
yeah. He's in a
He's in
bunch.
Shutter
Sure.
Island.
It shows you how
He's in
fucked
Shutter
well,
Island.
overseas have better actors than us, but it's the whole curse of like America gets an IP and they dump so much money into it that they forget about the acting part and like, but it's still good, the American version, but definitely the the Swedish version. Is
Well,
Yeah.
the Swedish version is pedophile as fuck.
The part that's a little weird in the I think it's Norwegian. I don't know what the Scandinavian, maybe the original movie.
Whatever it is, they go.
The
I
part,
read
the part
I
that
re-
bothered me in the original version was the cat scene. That looked a little weird because of the CGI cats attacking that woman. Do you remember what I'm
Oh.
talking about? That woman gets attacked by like all of her cats. She gets attacked by like 6 cats at once. I do like when the girl walks in without being invited, the vampire, and like she just starts
Oh,
like
wow.
bleeding out of all of her orifices, and it's like, oh my god, okay, I invite you in.
I forgot the
This
American-
idea that they have to be invited in, that's
I
so
like
cool.
that. I like that there's a consequence to that. Remember in the early 2010s when they were trying to make Chloe Grace Moretz a thing?
I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
the funny part. It's called Let the Right One In is a
That's
Swedish
the-
version.
Yeah, right. Let Me In is the American version.
Exactly. But yeah,
Yeah.
So freaking hit Girl's the fucking
Let the right
vampire.
one in. It's like a
Yeah.
better title. It means something,
Yeah.
Don't let the wrong one in.
They
But, I
she
mean-
never really became a thing, and they campaigned hard. They campaigned hard
Yeah.
with her almost as much as they're doing
That's
with
Hit
Gal,
Girl, right?
Gal Gadot. Yeah,
Hit Girl
Well, that's
needs
her problem is she turned her back on Louis C.K., dude.
that
It's
why?
one of those.
She has some big lips.
I think that's a big reason why I don't like her, because like she was literally the star of fucking Louis C.K.'s big upcoming movie that he was directing about
Yeah.
him
Okay.
being her dad.
okay.
And she's like a child actor. I can't remember what it's about, but it's supposed to be really funny.
Hmm.
Oh no, it's like she's dating someone like way older or one of his friends. I
Okay.
don't remember what it's about, but she's
Okay.
in it. And right before it's supposed to premiere, he gets canceled for his masturbating in front of people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she just went hard in the paint against him, and it was just
Did you guys hear
Ah.
his like stand up after that though?
yeah, it's
Oh,
so
I
much
have-
He's like,
funnier
let me-
now.
Let me just give you a piece of advice no one else can really give you.
I mean, she's
Yeah.
20. She's 26, so she's got a lot of she still has time to make a comeback. So
I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think she's done. I think
Yeah.
she's done. anyone they try to make happen
Yeah.
who doesn't happen is never gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like
How
Gail
was it-
This
Gadot.
dude,
Gail
Yeah.
Gadot
This
is
guy?
never gonna happen. That
This
guy
guy.
he's never gonna happen.
Dracula Untold.
Luke, yeah.
What's
I'm
the
li-
guy from Avatar?
Sam
Tim
Worthington.
Worthington.
He is
Yeah.
never gonna happen.
Well,
No, I
he's
agree.
gonna keep happening in the Avatar
Well, yeah.
sequels.
That's
I'm sure
but
he's
that's it. Yeah,
No,
that's
I
it
agree.
though. That's it though.
This
Like,
dude, I mean, this guy is famously gay actor
Luke.
playing Dracula. This is the one where Charles Dance is like,
I'm glad you brought this up, Luke. Come here. Oh, Luke, yeah. And so?
Charles Dance is like Vampire Prime in a cave who turns this dude into Dracula. And he basically uses his army powers of the night to fight a war.
I remember watching this movie high as fuck, and I'm like, at the time,
Yeah.
at the time period, the CGI was fucking amazing.
this is gonna sound super basic bitch of me, and I'm sorry about it as soon as I say it, but
You liked it?
no. Well, I mean that's okay, but
I like the high.
Bram Stoker's Dracula is my favorite Dracula.
I love
You
it.
basic bitch.
I'm
No,
sorry.
don't get me. No, that's it. That's top 3, easily top 5 for me. So don't
I mean,
worry
I
about
was-
it.
I was
we're bringing it up
17.
later.
Yeah.
I was 17 when it came out. It was hugely popular.
Yeah.
I really think that was Winona Ryder at peak hotness. It was
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins was
Yeah.
chewing up the fucking screen as Van Helsing.
Boy.
And I think Gary Oldman did that shit, man.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman did that shit.
And boy. And
What's so cool is like there's like 4 different Draculas in that movie.
Yeah.
There's this Dracula, there's young Dracula, there's Bat Dracula, there's Wolf
Yeah.
Dracula, and then there's
And that's
old
not-
Dracula at the end.
Here's the thing: when I was in the joint, okay, you open the door, Chris. So I'm going
Drink,
through it.
drink.
When I was in the joint, we had tablets,
Yep.
and we
Tablets.
say joint.
Lucky motherfucker.
We say joint in Florida.
Hey, man,
When I was in the joint, we
When I
had
was in the
tablets,
clink.
and they have all the classic novels are on the tablets. And I
Yeah.
read Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's almost fucking unfilmable as far as because it's all just a series of letters
Yeah.
Yeah.
going back and
Yeah.
forth to people. And I remember thinking, like, man, they did. I have a weird, believe it or not, for somebody who writes so many short stories and so many books and who has an English lit degree,
Yeah.
I have actually seen more movies first and then read the book. You know, the opposite of Meg. I've seen the movie and then read the book and enjoyed it more because of that situation. But
What I will say gets in my way when I read the book first and then see the movie is that I imagine when you see the movie first, you have sort of an image in your head. And even if the book trails off to sort of a different story than the movie, you can still have the characters in your head. For me,
Facts.
when I read the book first, I imagine the characters in my head, and then when I watch the movie, I feel like they never got it right. I would say the biggest example of that was Tom Cruise's character in Interview with the Vampire. I was like, he is not Lestat. That's not him. He doesn't look like it. He doesn't feel like
Anne
it.
Rice,
I agree.
Anne Rice thought the same thing, but then when she saw the movie, she changed her mind.
Well, I didn't.
mean,
I think
you know
Tom
what?
Cruise is great as Lestat.
this is gonna get
It's
me
not
some.
that he's bad. It's that if you read the books, he doesn't
right.
embody.
Yeah.
Did
This is gonna get me some hate.
Did you think it was better in Alea's Queen of the
Queen
Dead?
of the Damned. I did.
Honestly,
like Queen of the Damned.
yes.
I like Queen of
Why?
the Damned.
I think Lestat was played better. One because
I do.
What's Tom
I would-
Cruise Lestat's missing? What is he
Hold
missing?
on. I'm trying to tell you. One.
Yeah, quit fucking talking over her. Jesus Christ.
I was
Yeah,
the target demographic for Queen of the Damned, and I was goth at the time, so I was
Yeah.
just goo goo gaga over that
You're
Lestat.
still
But
goth.
also, you're right. But also in the movie and in the book, I mean the Queen of the Damned movie, like he's supposed to be dark with dark features, like he's dead. He's supposed to have like dark eyes. We always talk about people like, blackwashing these new movies and trying to do woke stuff. This was actually kind of a whitewashing of what Lestat was supposed to be. And I feel like he should have been.
You think he should have been more like a Brad Pitt looking guy?
No, I mean, Brad Pitt could have had a little lighter hair, but he was the more innocent person. And so I think that in a lot of movies, the darker, more evil guy has the darker hair. In this one, it's a little bit like confusing. And I think that Brad Pitt could have had. I don't even care if he kept his hair the way it was, but Lestat was supposed to have dark hair. He was supposed to have dark eyes. He was supposed to be dead looking. He's supposed to be old. He's like as old as time, and he's not supposed to be Tom Cruise with a blonde wig on.
Well, that's kind of the thing is like same thing with back to Bram Stoker's. It's like when he becomes like he's old, freaky Dracula, but then when he becomes young, handsome Dracula, same thing with Lestat and Brad Pitt. Like the idea is, I don't know if I like same thing with Twilight. It's the Twilight vampire. Like they're so beautiful. They're like almost like angelic.
I never watched it out of like principle. I never watched Twilight.
As being like literally attractive, like sexual beings, I don't know if I like that. I read that actually.
I read some of the book when I was at a Barnes and Noble in New York, and I like after a few chapters, I was like, "This is probably the worst thing I've ever read."
The writing's terrible. Yeah,
I did read all the books when I was in jail. But
oh my god, what the fuck?
Did you jerk off to him?
I've seen all the movies. I've seen all the Riff Tracks movies.
Did you guys know that 50 Shades of Grey is Twilight fan fiction of Bella and Edward as like humans doing S&M?
I have a cookbook called 50 Shades of Chicken, and each one of the recipes is like worded in like a weird BDSM way. Like now you got to tie the chicken up.
Man, I just went from 6 to midnight again.
You gotta like find another like phrase because this is getting. You're like, did I do that? You're like giving like a gag phrase. All
right, I gotta say, no matter what you say about vampire movies, these are the gayest vampires ever put to film ever. The Volturi, or whatever they're called.
It's so crazy because he's so badass in Underworld.
Yeah.
But then in this, he's just like.
The actor? Yeah.
He's just like.
He's the werewolf guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the main werewolf.
I didn't realize that because he's got a beard. He's got a beard.
But in this, he's like, "Do you have any Grey Poupon?"
Yeah.
I think that too. Yeah.
Well, that's the same with the Twilight books. I gave them a lot of credit. They took it out of the movies, but in the books, she goes into a big fucking detail about the history of the werewolves and the Americans.
Well, that's why the only Underworld movie I saw was the prequel because it's like the one that's not going to be shooting each other. They're not going to be shooting each other. Yeah. So I did watch Rise of the Lycans, and I did like it.
It is good. That is a good one. That is.
It's okay to watch it in prison because your selection is.
When I see this picture, I think of Amadeus. Too many notes. So that's
if you ever YouTube Michael Sheen's laugh though in the last fucking Twilight film, that's the weirdest shit.
Oh yeah, he's like
the craziest,
like very foppish, right?
That was strange.
So I had a teenage daughter through the whole Twilight fiasco. So yes, I have had to watch them.
Yeah.
And here's the worst part. They actually get to something passing as a decent story in the last movie.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
they have this,
and then it all becomes it's all a dream.
It's all a dream. It's all a dream. I'm like, dude, I remember sitting there in the theater going, all right, they are saving this whole franchise.
Well, that freaky CGI baby was like so weird.
Did that really happen? It really was all a dream?
No, it was all a dream.
Well, no, it wasn't all a dream. They have a big scene at the end where they all fight and kill each other, and like they have their heads like smashed like porcelain dolls and stuff. It's weird. But then like everyone's dead, and then of course like it's a dream. Back to the field before the battle began.
That's what I said.
Fucking way. That sounds like disappointing. That's like
terrible.
No shit.
It's
dude.
Terrible.
In the end, Bella and fucking Edward have a vampire baby, and it is for some reason CGI and like a puppet. It looks so horrifying.
And Werewolf Jacob wants to fuck it for some reason.
Yeah, it wasn't so much. It was a dream. His sister can see into the future, and basically like listen, if you guys go down this route, that it's like if you do this, I can see the fucking future, and the future is you all get wiped the fuck out. So then the elder vampires are like, okay, we're gonna back up because they know her, because every vampire has different powers, and her power is she can see the future.
Like
so it wasn't a dream in a sense.
I'm just gonna give you guys an idea. Okay,
her power being Bella's power?
No, not Bella, the one
the
sister.
baby.
No, it was
the time traveler girl, Ashley Green. She's
Yeah,
foxy.
I don't know anything about.
Yeah,
The
it's
actress.
basically like every vampire has different abilities. That was
Right.
Everything. Okay, Meg. Everything was leading up to this. Like everything they did from the very first movie up until what?
The
Chris,
vampires have considered you committed a crime.
the fifth. Is it the fifth movie, Chris, or what?
It's a fourth
Oh,
one because
Jesus
The
Christ.
fourth movie.
what
Okay.
they did was because they made it was Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Breaking
You're
Dawn.
right. Yes,
Part
you're
two.
right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Meg. So everything
Listening.
that they've been doing with Edward dating a human, with the werewolves jumping in the mix, like it all came to a head where like all the master vampires were just
Yes.
like, you guys have been breaking these rules, so we're gonna wipe out your whole bloodline.
Yeah.
But
So
wait, didn't
Ed,
she? As I
Oh.
understand it, didn't she have like one boyfriend who was like a lycanthrope and one boyfriend who
yes,
was
yes, that's yes, and so
Yeah.
yes, and so in the last movie, they have a kid,
Yes.
and then in order to save his family, Edward, the main vampire of this story,
Yep.
he goes and asks all these other like fringe vampire groups that have different powers
Yep.
and the werewolves be like, listen, it's kind of like a variation on that old movie The Wanderers. He's like, listen, the main gang is gonna wipe us out.
Yep.
We need to all band
Main gang.
together
Yeah.
so that
the main
we
gang
can
of vampires?
right.
Gang.
Yeah.
And so, can you guys back us up? We're gonna take them on. We're gonna take on the elite,
The Volturi,
vampire.
they're called.
Yeah.
These
the
foppish.
wop-
When I
right,
see these
the
vampires,
swap
this is what I picture they sound
Is
like. Are you
this
ready?
from Twilight? This picture is
Yes.
this
Yes.
from Twilight?
Yeah.
These are the
yeah,
these are
yeah,
the
that's
aristocratic these vampires live in
Oh.
Rome.
Yeah,
These
they're
are like
like
the
the
high
high
class
council-
vampires. Yeah.
They're like the
I've
High
seen it.
Council WAP vampires.
they
from
literally
Italy.
sound like this. They like look at each other, they just like make noises like
Well, the one thing I give them credit though, or give her rules is that the Volturi they had to fucking put rules because when vampires are first children, if they let these kids get out when their first year is like anything, like their first years as vampires, they can't control them. And in the history of the Volturi, these kids would wipe out fucking villages and towns. And it's like, listen, we have to have rules because if we start going fucking free, we're gonna wind up wiping out the human race, and like all our food supply dies.
understand that
So-
too much killing attracts negative attention.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah, though, but that's
So-
that's how they survived for the past 5,000
Okay.
years. Because
So
you
then
know,
in the last movie, because the other 3 movies before it were shit. In
Yeah.
the last movie, it
They're all
actually
shitty.
they're like the one chick gets decapitated,
yeah,
and then the main guy, like his stepdad, steps in, and then they decapitate him.
Yeah.
So then everyone's like, "Fuck it, we're going to war." And
Yeah.
so they have this like total massacre bloodbath, which is epic as fuck.
it actually it's
at
a
the
good
end-
fight scene. Yeah,
And then the psychic vampire
Scratch it, reverse it.
You're right.
Yeah, no,
Ashley Green was just seeing into the future
we
the
were
whole
just
time.
no. That's what.
And now
That-
I
it's
can
like,
warn
that's
us
what
how to
coulda
avert the
happened.
disaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can
What's
I
even
just-
better is
Can I just say
Breaking Dawn
something?
Part 1. No, listen, Breaking Dawn Part 1 is the worst sex scene ever
Yes,
for
dude.
the honeymoon where they break the bed at the fancy island vista that they get to rent as vampires. Anyway, continue. What were you going to say, Meg?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, having not ever seen Twilight,
Blessed be.
if you told me that I would be sitting in a podcast
Yeah,
with
with
two guys
3 men.
who argue over who mentions prison first.
Yeah. And they have
who were
fucking
like educating
detailed
me on
encyclopedic
Twilight.
knowledge.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but in the book this, and in the movie this.
I'm familiar
and,
with the
like,
Twilight movies because I've seen all 5 of them because I have all the riff tracks of them.
I would have
They're all funny.
expected it from like my 15-year-old sister, but the fact that like 2 grown men are
Listen,
informing me
Megan.
on what this was is great.
I have a treat for you. I pulled up the book and I moved to a random page. All right, here we go. Twilight, Chapter 7, Nightmare.
Okay, dude, do
Okay.
not go on a 20-minute.
Just a
Fuck
couple
it.
paragraphs. I told Charlie I had a lot of homework to do, and I didn't want anything to eat. There was a basketball game on that he was excited about, though, of course, I had no idea what was
You're
special
so
about
bad.
it. So he wasn't aware. These are the actual words, though. So he wasn't aware
but
of
you're
anything
bad at
unusual in the face or tone. This is how Bella talks.
yeah.
This is Bella reading her own writing. Once in my room, I locked the door. I dug through my desk until I found my old headphones and I plugged them into the little CD player. I picked up a CD that Phil had given me for Christmas. It was one of his favorite bands, but they used a little too much bass and shrieking for my tastes. I popped it into place and laid down on my bed. I put on the headphones, hit play, and turned up the volume until it hurt my ears. I closed my eyes, but the light still intruded, so I added a pillow over the top of half of my face.
Wow.
And then
That's
she explains the details of the music, the CD, the drum
fucking
patterns.
modern day Shakespeare.
It is horrifying writing. It is the worst fucking
If you
writing.
want to, Meg, if you want to see some of the funniest shit you've ever seen on YouTube, Google Kristen Stewart in Twilight with her mouth open.
Oh my
She
god.
She cannot keep. Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious.
There's a
I got
running
better
joke.
ways to spend the minutes in my life, man. I'm not
There's a
gonna do
running
it.
joke on the riff tracks where they talk like they'll say something like the sentence. You think it's over, but the sentence isn't over. And
know
it's just
what,
like, dude,
Toxic?
why do they keep talking like this? It's annoying. So
Yeah.
they keep saying line. That's like the joke. Like they'll be like, it's just line. I don't remember my line.
There's another YouTuber. His name is the Friendly Space Ninja, and he is fucking hilarious. He's this black French guy.
I was about to say by ninja, he means something, doesn't he?
Oh,
He
And
did. And he rips the shit out of like a lot of stuff that like people love, like Vampire Diaries and Twilight. And he does a Twilight critique that is so spot on. And he
Well,
just
that must be really hard to critique Twilight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
He must
again
get a lot of hate for his controversial opinion of not liking Twilight.
You guys,
I'm joking.
see, you guys,
I'm kidding.
with all of us being of a different age group, let me tell you, I was a sergeant in the Army and I was stationed in North Carolina.
Drink.
There you go. I had a soldier named Adams, and he was obsessed with Twilight. And when the movie came out, he went downtown to one of the weirdo like head shops, and they put vampire teeth on his fucking face so that he could
Sounds like
go.
your buddy had some kinks.
So that he could go to the Twilight movie when it came out. And like my other soldiers called me, they were like, hey, go talk to Adams. Go see what Adams has going on, Sergeant Kelly. And I was like, Adams, what did you do this time? And he like smiled at me. He's like, Twilight's coming out today, Sergeant Kelly. And then he like shows me his vampire teeth. And I'm like, take those off. He goes, I can't. They were surgically imprinted onto my teeth. They're stuck there. I can't take them off ever. I was like,
Wow.
if you don't fucking get those things out of your head right now, I swear to God, we're going to court-martial you. Like, go to the dentist. I don't give a shit what you do. Get that shit fucking fixed, like, immediately.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know, Megan knew a guy that was like professional, fangsmiths, we called him.
Yeah.
Professional fangsmiths. A guy who's like, oh, you need custom vampire fangs? I can get those for you.
Yikes.
What the fuck? That's your
I
job?
didn't get them, by the way. This was
Yeah.
it relates to a much larger.
What a weird
much
job for a
weirder
niche
story.
audience. Like,
What a
how many
weird
goth
friend.
kids.
What a weird friend to have, Meg. Jesus.
like a
Don't even
client.
get me started.
A person who hung
Yeah.
out at her work.
Yeah, kind of, pretty much.
What do you guys think is the appeal of?
I've
I
had a
know
lot
what-
of weird jobs, dude. I used to work for the Church of Satan. Did I
Right.
ever talk to you
Let-
guys about
Let Wes finish.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we'll do that another stream. What do you guys think? Like this ongoing appeal of what do you think the appeal is of vampires after all these many decades and all these
Jesus.
movies
Jesus
and
Christ.
TV? You think Jesus Christ is the appeal? You think
Yeah,
Jesus
because,
Christ is-
you know, blood, Jesus Christ gave our blood, gave
Okay.
his blood to us. Vampires take
Okay.
our blood for themselves. No, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
I think that the
It's-
Twilight revival sort of made them sexy.
yeah,
And
they are
Okay.
sexy.
They're not sexy. They're blood.
Even when they're even when they are bloodthirsty creatures from hell that suck your blood without permission, it still like invokes like you know, it's just like sexual and connotation.
it definitely does have a sexual connotation for sure.
and also the appeal of like living forever and
Okay.
being a demon from hell
yeah.
I would
and
hate to live
undead.
forever.
and there's some superpowers and just the
Yeah.
idea of blood in general. Like vampires are very much about like the blood, the liquid, the sangue.
Yeah.
Would you guys live forever if you had the chance?
No.
I would.
If you had to be a werewolf or a vampire, what would it be? What would you choose?
Vampire.
Wait, hold on. Two
Which
questions.
question are
Blue
we doing?
collar-
Yeah, which question are we
blue
dealing with
collar-
first? Captain Interruptus.
Me or him?
Him. He knows who the
Oh.
fuck I'm
I'm
talking to.
captain around
No,
this shit.
I'm the interruptus. But okay, so blue collar. First question. Wait,
Oh
what
yeah,
was my first
captain
question?
and interruptus. Yeah, you were saying, Meg, live forever. Would you?
Would
I
you
would say
want to
hard
live
no.
forever?
Would you want to live forever?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Toxic.
I would like to live forever, but only for a little while.
That's an oxymoron.
Like if
Yeah.
you told me like,
That's
hey,
a stupid answer, and you
'cause
were
this thing is
disqualified,
vampires.
Oh,
and
that
we
is
are-
not a
we
stupid
are-
answer.
We are
That's-
all dumber for having heard your answer.
That is
and
No.
you were awarded
No, listen.
0
That's
points.
actually Stephen Dorff's answer in
Nope.
SFW from
Don't try to blame it on
1994.
someone else. 0
I'm
points.
just telling you.
You
I-
know
it's
the
one of
what?
my
idea with the
favorite
vampire.
quotes.
Listen, vampires like technically don't live forever because they usually get
Yeah, they
killed.
do.
And
Well,
like that's the thing. It's like remember when vampire from Interview with the Vampire, Antonio Banderas. He's like, I'm 300 years old. I'm
Armando.
the oldest living
Armando.
vampire. At 300 years old, I am the oldest living vampire. And it's like,
That was
okay,
his sexiest role, in my opinion, as a woman.
yeah. He's good.
Really?
He's good.
More
That
than
he's good in
Assassins?
Zorro. He's good in Zorro
Yeah.
too.
More than
and Assassins.
Assassins?
Assassins
Yeah.
is good. Assassins is good because he's a bad guy.
I love Assassins. We got to do a rewatch of
He's
Assassins.
so crazy. I
Again,
I
love that.
love Assassins so much. That is one
Not
of
a
my
single
favorite movies.
unsilenced firearm in that movie.
Correct.
Every
the
firearm is suppressed.
In the
Pretty
same
close.
way that like the girls who were younger than me were like the target demographic for like Twilight, this was totally like the thing that was, popular when I was a kid. And so this is sort of the way that
Yeah.
vampires were sexualized, I guess, in that point.
Yeah, I mean,
But
this kind of
This
brought back
wasn't
this
this
like
wasn't supposed to be a sexy movie. It was supposed to be like
it is
you know,
extremely
um,
homoerotic. Neil,
especially
Brad-
Neil Jordan knew what the fuck he's doing. This is the guy who made the Crying Game. All right,
it's
he knew what he was
tragedy,
doing.
and it's but I
He-
do hate the girl they casted.
Yeah,
I've
Kristen
always
Dunst.
hated her. Yeah, I've hated her in everything she's ever been in. I've
Really?
always hated her
I like
forever.
her.
Really?
Yeah,
I like her
I
in
don't
this
like
movie
her.
specifically.
I don't like her, but
She's
Wow.
fierce, like a little kitten.
I
cat.
think Brad Pitt was the best in this movie. But I think that this movie wasn't about like sexiness, like the new Twilight, whatever. It's about sorrow, and it's about the passage of time and trying to cope with, changing times and changing culture. And
Imagine
he's
if
really,
Forrest
really
Gump
trying to
couldn't
be
die.
merciful. He's trying to be merciful because he doesn't want to, take the life of other. He's eating fucking sewer rats, and like he's really trying to be, even though he's a demon from hell, sort of has a human conscience still. But Lestat, none of it. And
See,
yeah.
you guys have no earthly clue of what it was like to be 17 and be in the age of Brad Pitt. Like every chick, like you guys have seen those pictures of me at 17 where I was a Matt Damon doppelganger. But like chicks would like look at like Brad Pitt was coming out in Legends of the Fall and fucking Interview with the Vampire, like and Thelma and Louise. Like it was crazy. Like the chicks just were going nuts for that
He's
shit.
right.
I remember seeing them like doing that for Leo, around the Titanic, Romeo and Juliet time. Girls
Yeah,
just like
where was all the chicks' panties getting wet for Leo when he was in Gilbert Grape? Like when he was like,
Or what
like,
about him? Or
where was
no,
that?
no. Also, say, reverse coin. Like, where are the chicks getting wet for him in Wolf of Wall Street, The Departed? No, no. There was a time where he looked good.
So
no,
I
now he has
actually-
respect. He has respect
No,
as a decent actor.
But
and
here's
not
the
even
thing,
great
I hate
actor.
I hate to be cliche Megan again, but I read the book that The Departed was based on, and that guy was kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, he ended up. it was more of a composite thing. Each of the, supposedly Jack Nicholson's character was supposed to be Whitey Bulger, and
Correct.
and then Leo's character was supposed to be this guy named John, quote unquote, Red Shea, who was like a boxer and who lived in South Boston. And then there was like another cop who was named, I believe, Connolly, and I don't know if they used that name in the movie or not. But after this book was written, and it was called Rat Bastards. And it was basically about this guy going to prison because he was part of Whitey Bulger's gang. And he went to prison, he didn't rat. And so he ended up doing like a lot of time. But then while he was in prison, he found out that Whitey Bulger was an informant for the FBI.
Yeah.
And he like literally passed out. Like he even wrote in the book, like he literally just fell out and woke up.
I have a lot of information about that stuff. We'll have to do that on a stream one time where I can really delve into it. But I just remind me, we'll do a stream sometime talking about The Departed and all that entails, because I have a lot of info that you would be surprised.
Agreed.
Affairs.
I spent my last winter in Boston helping my friend divorce a Capone.
Nice.
Yeah,
all my mom's side of the family is all from Dorchester, Massachusetts.
Yeah,
So,
we get a lot to talk about. Anyway, let's go on.
we'll do that.
So back to Blade. I was gonna say Blade.
I like Blade. I like Blade.
I like
the whole kung fu. I like all three. I like all three Blade movies.
Blade gets no credit because
no, and I like the TV show
before the
and
Matrix.
The TV show was good too.
It did all the shit before the Matrix. It did leather jackets, sunglasses, kung fu fighting, bullet time, techno music. It did all that crap before the Matrix, and also the Blade 2. I mean, Blade 1 it suffers in the finale with the bad CGI.
Yeah.
But Steven Dorff is great, and I do like the Council of Vampires, speaking their weird vampire language, and they run the world, they run the police.
The other thing I like about Blade at this time was that, again, just like when we watched Life Size the other day, or we talked about the Cinderella with Brandy, it's like everybody watched this movie and it was cool, but it was never like, oh, we're watching that black movie, Blade.
Oh, right. Black superhero, but before Black Panther. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Marvel
everybody's
movies.
like, oh, it's the first time this has ever been done. And it's like, no, it's not. Do
Blade
you guys
was also
not
the
remember
first big
the
Marvel
90s?
movie.
Yeah.
It was the first
Blade-
Marvel movie, yeah.
Blade did so much first, dude. It's insane. And nobody even cared. Nobody batted an eye. They're like, yeah, it's pretty good. Everyone's just like, yeah. Well.
Everyone's like, oh, the first Black Disney movie. And it's like, do you guys not remember the Cinderella with Brandy? Like, that was actually pretty good.
What about the Princess and the Frog? That was they made that a big thing just like 10 years ago.
I don't know if you guys watched the stream, but we did Life Size recently.
Yeah, we did.
In the wake of the Barbie thing. And it was like Tyra Banks playing a life-size doll. And she like goes through some kind of, I don't know, was it a spell or something? I forget. But she turns into like a person, and she used to just be like a beautiful doll. And of course she's Tyra Banks, so she's like flawless and gorgeous. And nobody ever was like, oh, that's that Black Barbie movie. We were all just like, oh, that's that cool movie. Lindsay Lohan was a little girl in the movie.
With that forehead, I wouldn't say Tyra Banks was flawless. I mean, that's like a 5 head.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Enzo made a joke about that like the next day, but
I was saying in the video, like even though she has a huge forehead, like she still pulls it off. You can argue that she has very weird elongated features, but she still looks good.
Well, it's also when you think about black
back
girls,
to vampires.
They're wearing wigs sometimes that are lace front wigs and make their hairline look.
Yes, I know. My wife would get mad when
I fucking knew you were gonna say something like that. Just hush. With your no hair, you Irish bastard, and listen to what Enzo has to say. Listen to Enzo.
Blade.
Well, I do say Blade 2 is better, and
Blade 2 is great.
Reapers.
Blade 2 is great.
It's got that. This is one of the few times where I do love Ron Perlman as asshole vampire. Giving Blade shit. All the cool vampires, they all look like they could have their own movie about them. They're all interesting and cool.
Donnie Yen was a little underutilized in my opinion.
Yeah, they were all pretty cool, and they're all barely in the movie. I like the couple, like that first dude that becomes a Reaper, that big dude with the tattoos, and then there's Chupa, who's like Mexican. I mean, they all feel like fleshed out.
Is his name Chupa?
Yeah, he's a vampire from Mexico, I guess.
You know what? That's actually an appropriate name for a vampire.
I know. Guillermo del Toro doing his thing. Blade 3,
Yeah.
not so great, obviously.
I hate that movie.
You've got all the behind the scenes controversy
Man, there was a
about
lot.
Wesley Snipes' antics and
Listen,
comic book movies.
I like Blade 3. I'm sorry. I like
Blade.
it.
It's not even called Blade 3. It's called Blade Trinity.
Yeah, I like it. I like
Ryan Wilson.
I like
this,
Ryan Reynolds in that movie. I think he's fucking fantastic. I enjoy the movie. I like it.
He's got such a hot wife.
Yeah, but you can definitely say. Sorry, you can definitely say it's the worst of the three, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here he is.
The CGI went down with Blade
How's it
Trinity.
going, English bastard?
Oh, Christ. Oh, look who it is. Oh, Christ. Shit. Hey, man. What
Good
are you
morning.
doing, Adeline?
Excuse toxic racism, but we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, we've been going for like 2 hours already.
Have you had a chance
But
to
we
have
still-
your coffee
we haven't
and your
talked at-
bangers and mash?
No, just beer. But yeah, it's good
Just
to be
beer.
on here. What did I miss anyway? What are you up to so
We've
far?
just been talking about vampires. We haven't talked at all about Last Voyage of the Demeter, and we haven't talked at all about any of these William Friedkin movies I watched. I watched Sorcerer, which was so badass. Holy shit,
Yeah,
I
let's
loved
watch
it. I made a post about it, and it was like I watched it while Meg was asleep, and it was like the fucking Tangerine Dream score obviously helps. And I don't know, by the end of the movie, I was like fucking blown away. I loved it. And I didn't realize William Friedkin made The Hunted with Benicio del Toro. We talked about that recently.
Oh,
I didn't
damn.
realize. Yeah, the guy
That's
who made
good
The
fun.
Exorcist made that one. He also made this
Yeah.
weird movie called The Entity about
read a lot.
a nanny who is like actually like a nymph that sacrifices babies to like a tree god. I was like, dude, I gotta check out some of these movies. And I watched like the first 30 minutes of Born in to Live and Die in L.A. and that was
Yeah,
cool.
that's good. That.
I also
Really
watched The
good.
French Connection, and I thought that was good. Meg was a little bored by it, but
I
it
hated it.
had a very anticlimactic ending, a very sour ending, which I liked.
Still be continued though, in it, because they did a second one, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't see that one yet, but
I ain't seen that one yet either.
William Friedkin didn't do that one though. Anyway, but how have you
What
been?
else
How did
did
you
we
sleep?
watch?
Okay.
Yeah. Stop. Got up real early. Had a run. All got washed, got dressed, and just came on here now.
Nice.
I
Well, good.
forgot about the Friedkin movie we watched yesterday that we did, like cruising.
Yeah, cruising was crazy. We watched.
That was
I heard about
fucking
that.
insane.
Holy shit, dude! Al Pacino has
Pacino
to
going
go
gay.
undercover in the gay S&M clubs in New York in the 80s to find a serial killer preying on men.
It was nuts.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
nuts for 1980. Like I could imagine people in the theater in 1980, like with
No,
like AIDS, HIV, and all this stuff, and gays, and just like what the. Oh. William Friedkin,
Yeah.
man, he likes to capture. He's very
Can I-
documentary
English
style.
Bastard, it sounds like you've seen it.
I've heard of it, but I've not seen it yet. And I was a big Al Pacino fanboy when I was a teenager. I liked Scarface,
Good.
fucking The Godfather, and that, and Serpico, all that stuff.
It starts hard and heavy. You're like, whoa, dude, this
Oh.
movie, I can't believe
Can I-
this movie was made.
Can I
Wait,
tell
go
you
ahead.
guys about a YouTube reel that I saw recently on William Friedkin?
No,
Eh,
you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
No.
Anyway,
I want to talk about William Friedkin's antics. Is that what
Okay,
it's about?
so-
One of his.
Similar. I don't know what the context of the conversation was, but he was
He's a
talking to
badass.
he was talking to a Scottish reporter, and the reporter had asked him something about maybe his contentious relationship with Al Pacino from Cruising, and and this is the quote. I'm going to post it to the group at some point. William Friedkin goes, "I couldn't give a flying fuck and a rolling donut what Al Pacino thinks about one topic or another."
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that is. I like, and he goes, does that make sense what I say to you? And the reporter was like, yeah, that's nice, but yeah, okay, Mr. Friedkin, if you're pretty plain with the way you're saying it. He's like, yeah, I don't care what that fucking guy says. He can say whatever he wants. I don't give a shit because he doesn't show up on time and he doesn't learn his lines and he doesn't do what he's told in the theater. So I don't fucking care what he says or what he does. And they were like, all right, cool. Yeah, all right, got it. He did not, I will repeat, he did not give a flying fuck and a rolling donut what Al Pacino says or thinks.
he said something similar about someone else who was like, "Oh, your films are this or that," and he's like, "Oh, well, fuck that guy," you know, like
Cool.
he's always wearing like a turtleneck and a blazer and fucking aviators, and he's very like, "Hey, I don't know, New York, New Jersey, something like that." Says it how it is. Hey, well, here's the thing. There was like a video I was watching the making of The Exorcist, and him and the author, they're like, you know, they both tried to make two different movies, and because of that, like, that's kind of why the movie ended up being so good, because of that clashed creative differences, you know. But then they have a video, an interview of them together, and they're still like arguing about the movie, you know, to this day, and it's so funny. Because, like, William Friedkin's just, like, telling the author, like, he doesn't understand his own book, you know?
Yeah, and the author's like, fuck that guy, I'll do the third one.
Yeah,
He did
well,
do
you
the
know.
third one, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he said, William Friedkin said, yeah, Blatty, the author, did do the third book, which, you know, which is good. But William Friedkin definitely shat all over Exorcist 2, the movie. But he was saying that, you know, when he first got the script, William Blatty wrote the first draft of the script for the movie, The Exorcist, and he said he shat all over it. He threw it in the garbage basket. Basically, he told the guy, like, dude, like the author to the book, like, this is not. I don't know what you're doing with all the symbolism and everything, but he basically showed up with his own book, just like chapters, like highlighted as like, here's ways, like these are parts of the book we could film, you know, and we just approach it from like page 1, but. I don't know. William Friedkin, man, I'm definitely going to dive more into his movies. He has a few others I forgot about that, you know, I want to just check them all out. They just seem good.
Yeah, I definitely
We should do a
catalog. Yeah.
we
Yeah, maybe next week.
we do a best
Living
of
Dynamite is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, maybe
is,
next week
it
we'll
is.
do Billy Friedkin.
yeah Billy Friedkin stream, like all the best of Billy Friedkin.
Yeah,
So,
I want to talk
anyway.
about Living Dynamite because the lead character is a fucking nut job in there. I just love it. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite vampires iterations here? I'm sure we might have talked about some of them already, but
Yeah, talked with Lord Toxic about From Dusk to Dawn. I like that. It's one
I
of George
love it.
Clooney's best roles as well. One of his
definitely his
more
best
different
role.
roles.
Definitely his best role, because
Yeah.
it's his most different role for sure.
And
the only
others,
time
probably Dracula, the old one, Christopher Lee, even the Bela Lugosi one. I've got a bit of a soft spot for that one. So.
Oh yeah, I had Bela Lugosi up there earlier, but Christopher Lee, he's right over. Where's Christopher Lee? I got Christopher Lee somewhere. I got so many of these vampire tabs open. Where are
I'm
all the
meaning
vampires?
to see the Frank Langella Dracula though. The Frank Langella one. I'm meaning to see that
right.
one. I've heard that's a good one as well.
Yeah, it is. Here's Christopher Lee. I like how Christopher Lee just has like chlorine pool eyes. You know,
Yeah,
like
God, look at him, boss.
check out this babe behind him though. Hello.
Yeah, it fucking was a gorgeous.
The
one,
Hammer
horrors.
Dracula movies were so like sexploitation style.
Yeah, back in the 50s as well. The nice conforming 50s.
Oh yeah.
We should
Yeah,
have a
Blitz,
week watch
obviously.
of Barbarella talking about sexploitation.
Yeah, we are doing Barbarella. In fact, I'm going to try to edit that this week and release it next week. The Hunted's Wednesday. Me and Meg, I forced Meg to watch The Hunted.
I
It
fucking hated
It
it.
should have been toxic.
I liked it. I liked it.
But yeah, that's why it's so crazy.
I love that. I love that movie so much.
But see, everyone confuses it
Yeah,
with Benicio
let
del
him
Toro's
do
The
it next
Hunted.
time.
But I had no idea that William Friedkin made that movie. I was like, what? Anyway.
Yeah, I got confused. I thought you meant the Benicio del Toro one for a second, but you're on about the Christopher Lambert one, aren't you?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
great
need to
fucking
check that
movie.
out. Monster Squad. Yeah, it's a fun one.
Here's a
like-
Dracula
guys-
I've always
oh,
liked.
I forgot to say, did you guys know that in like 3 or 4 different magazines, including Entertainment Weekly, this version in Monster Squad of Dracula has been voted the scariest version of Dracula?
Whoa.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
it was just I thought it was fun.
I think it's
but
because
didn't
little
think it was
kids are
scary.
traumatized from that part where he grabs that little girl. He's like, "Give me the ambulance,
Yeah.
you bitch!"
You little
Probably.
Ah! Screaming in that little girl's face as he's like holding her
Oh,
like
good.
a little.
Doesn't that guy look like a pasty face Enzo?
Maybe.
Doesn't?
You talk about the Mummy? Yeah, I agree.
No, the Dracula with no facial hair and
Sure.
Yeah.
like lighter
Especially
skin.
when he
That's
gets out of the
Enzo.
shower and combs
Yeah.
his hair back. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I was
well-
I slicked my hair
guys-
back specifically for this Dracula look. You know.
What was the first movie that actually like freaked you out and made you scared when you were a kid?
The Howling Part 3, the marsupials, and specifically the scene where they're at the movie and it's invaders from Uranus, and it's like a bad werewolf like coming out of the ladies like. Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up.
Mine was Clan of the Cave Bear because I didn't understand that Daryl Hannah was getting butt raped in the scenes. I didn't know what was happening in there.
Okay.
And I couldn't figure out, like, I was like, why, what is happening right now? Like, this is kind of scary. Like, why is this Neanderthal guy doing this stuff to her butthole?
Blue Collar?
Trying to think, there's a lot of them. Like to this day, the first Lost Boys, that the fucking makeup job. Lost Boys is a scary movie for when you're 5, 6 years old. So
Oh yeah.
on top of, but people tend to forget the first Predator. When Predator first came out, that movie scared the fuck out of me because Predator at the time, that was, so. But no, Lost Boys. Even my son said that, he's like, Dad, Friday's like I first watched Lost Boys. He goes, that movie still holds up.
Lost Boys seemed so realistic to me for some reason when I was a kid.
Something about it, yeah.
English
Lost Boys.
Bastard? What about you?
Trying to remember now. The earliest I can remember is probably one scene in Jurassic. It was in Jurassic Park, and that was when Samuel Jackson's arm falls on Laura Dern. I remember that freaking me out because like you're seeing a severed arm in a fucking PG movie. It's kind of awesome.
Well, I'm actually wearing a Jurassic Park shirt right now, but me and Enzo always talk about how that's not a child's movie. Like everybody thinks, oh, it's kids' movie. That is not a kids' movie. That is a fucking horror movie.
No, it's a scary movie. The
children.
children.
My shirt. It's
go for
just a Velociraptor on my shirt. That's all.
I'm not gonna show. I'm not trying to show your shirt. I'm trying to share my screen again with audio this time. But yeah, the thing about Lost Boys that was so cool is it's like because vampires seduce their prey, right?
Yeah. It's like
MTV
vampires.
Sometimes they seduce them because they're sexy, and it's like you're attracted to them. Other times they're seducing.
Mind control.
Yeah, mind control. But with Lost Boys, it's like peer pressure. Like, hey, we're the cool kids. Like, come hang out with us. Because you guys can see my screen, right? Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear this? Did you hear that music?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm hearing an echo.
From a movie.
I'm hearing an echo. Are you guys hearing an echo?
Oh.
Echo.
Is it me?
Echo.
Am I echoing?
Echo.
Yeah.
You're making everyone else echo.
Is that echo over now?
Let me see.
Yes, it's good.
Son of a bitch.
Whatever you were doing was making all of us echo except you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whatever
I love
you were trying
how
to do.
everyone is like sitting upright and being responsible people, and I'm just laying in bed like.
You don't know what I'm doing. I could be
That's
sitting
true.
here naked. You have no idea.
Well, we already talked about how you don't have your camera on, and
I guess
I don't want to know why.
I guess I just won't share audio. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to see this, actually. I don't know what's about to happen, but I don't like the title.
This was the first movie that scared the shit out of me. This is from The Howling Part 3.
I don't like it.
And I remember being like, I have vivid memory being like 3 or 4 years old, like, turn it off. Turn it off. I don't like it.
You know what?
And then you watch it nowadays. And
I don't like it.
Enzo,
You don't
see
like
if
it?
you can find it on your own sometime. I don't know. There was a 1988
What the
TV
fuck?
show. Yeah, that's gross. They had a 1988 TV show on Fox called Werewolf, and they had
I know that show.
trailer. That was the very first TV show to ever get one of those warning labels of parental
Violence.
parental advisory. Scary images, blah blah blah. Like that was like for mature audiences only. It was. The whole story was. It was like an Incredible Hulk type story,
right.
where the main protagonist gets bit by a werewolf, and then he has to like go through adventures, going from town to town, like trying to find this guy. And they had this really cool. They had the guy that was hunting down the A-Team in like the second or third season of the A-Team. He was the guy that was hunting the A-Team. He's a bounty hunter, and he's chasing the werewolf down, and he does the voiceover for the trailer. And it's like, my daddy taught me you could hunt anything down if you could look it in the face. If only you could look it in the face and see it in its eyes, or some shit like that. And like every time the guy turned into whirl, pentagram and blood would come up on his hand. I don't know if this is the trailer or not that I saw, but
Yeah,
it's pretty close. Yeah.
I have a distinct memory from this show of like the dude like putting his hand on like a windowsill and like the nails like coming. There's the pentagram on the hand.
Yep.
But I have a distinct memory of him putting his hand like on a windowsill and like the fingernails like growing out. What a title, Werewolf. And there's your Incredible Hulk music.
Yep.
You know. Anyway.
You know what we should watch on a We Watch? That shitty movie, Stigmata.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Sister Act where she gets fucking the fucking
the pentagram thing made me think of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but other stuff too at Lost Boys, like what made it the terrifying at the time was like, remember just scenes where like they're all hanging on the fucking bridge and everybody but him, they fall into the fog and stuff.
Come
and, like,
play with us, Mikey.
and of course, and Keeper's like, Michael, it's like, oh, you're eating maggots. It's like, what? It's like you're eating maggots. Looks down, he's eating fucking maggots with this rice, but also the soundtrack, man, like that whole, like, remember, thou shalt not, like that. That song is cool as fuck, man.
It's like,
remember the old man as well who'll get the house from. He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
One thing I can never stand about this town is all the bloody vampires.
It's like
it's a casual thing that happens. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, so if you look at Lost Boys, like there's not like the movie doesn't really have like a lot of gore. It's just like so many creepy fucking scenes. Like remember when the chick there, she had Michael, and like they're all outside, with the motorcycles and stuff, and all the beams coming in, and then of course the Frog Brothers. But the vampires weren't really scary until like the last 20 minutes of the fucking movie.
Yeah, especially in the bathtub with the holy water. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was really fucked up. I love it though.
Yeah, I still believe. Remember that song? Bam, 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 bam. The guy in the purple pants. That was the part that scared me of the Lost Boys.
I still have the ending though. Remember after he killed fucking Kiefer, the entire time.
The saxophone.
Remember at the end was the fucking the mom's boyfriend turned to a vampire at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was good imagery. That was a real
I still want you, Lucy. I haven't changed my mind about that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's creepy
so
about
evil.
that shit. Yeah.
Well, that's my favorite part. He's like, but the garlic, the holy water. It's like, you never invite a vampire in your house, silly boy. Renders you powerless.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that.
So, I don't want to endorse this show because it wasn't like I was really a fan of this show. But I feel like we can get some critical feedback on this. What about True Blood?
Everybody
hates it, but I want to hear bitching about it.
I watched all of it.
Well, you also watched all of Twilight, so
but see, True Blood, it's a very good popular show when all these sex scenes and naked women in prison.
Yeah. Can I throw out a guess?
Prison drink.
Can I throw out a guess? I bet you Chris was dating some chick that made him watch True Blood with her. Like she's like, honey, our show's on. Our show's on.
The funny part is the first two seasons.
Me and Mick show's 90 Day Fiance, so don't fucking
I skipped the first two seasons.
Telling people that on our fucking anniversary.
I skipped the first two seasons of True Blood, and we actually had
Happy
HBO
anniversary.
in jail. We had HBO in jail, so I started watching True Blood in jail because we had HBO, and I'm like, well, fuck, and everyone's watching it, so we're like, all right, sure.
True Blood. So it's like Twilight, but with rednecks and lots of vampires. It's like the vampires live among us type world, right?
I'm fine.
We know about vampires. They're not like a mystery. They're not a secret.
Anna Paquin's naked every episode. I'm fine with that.
I did.
Does she
look
look good
watch.
naked?
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
God,
I didn't realize Anna Paquin had a nice
body. She can fuck like a beast too.
Yeah, I have watched that on Pornhub, and it's pretty hot.
Because that was her actual husband too. Like that shit. That wasn't acting. She was fucking the shit out of her husband.
Yeah,
like,
she gets fucked stupid on that show. Like crazy stupid.
Not to mention
the chick from The Punisher gets banged sideways on that show too.
She's sexy in that show.
Like I said, it's like everyone knows vampires exist in this show.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I see, and that's the same thing with like Blade. Like, I'm not really a fan of that shit. Like, I like it more when like vampires are like few and far between. You know, like they shouldn't be like everywhere calling the shots, run to the show. You know.
Well, it was kind of like Anne Rice thing. What was it? Interview with the Vampire, where they had like the meeting of the elders, and they had to like figure out what happened with this guy now that he was in love with a girl who wasn't a vampire. It was basically Twilight, because did Twilight rip that off? Now that I think about it, but it was like he was in love with a girl who wasn't a vampire.
Okay, Enzo is right.
Huh?
Twilight ripped off a lot of
Twilight
shit.
ripped off a lot of shit, I'd imagine. Doesn't seem very original.
Someone getting with a vampire is like, it's kind of been done before. Look at Near Dark. That's kind of got a love story with vampires as well.
Well, it's also like this woman is a cipher and two different men are fighting over her. It's the Notebook, but with like the Monster Mash. That's basically what it is. It's like rich boy, poor boy. Who's gonna marry me? I don't know, boys. Like, it's chicks like those movies, those stories.
Makes me think of that one song. Two princes.
All that she wants is another baby.
No, Two Princes. And I was watching Did you guys ever watch Sarah Silverman's show?
Yeah. Nah, I heard of it.
I did. I did.
She had that like metalhead. Who was it? Brian something or another. She had this
Posehn. Brian Posehn.
Yeah, Brian Posehn, and he played this like gay neighbor who was like a metalhead, and he always had these headphones on. And one day his boyfriend like found his iPod, and it was just Spin Doctors, Two Princes on repeat. It was the only song.
Is that the one that's like we know that one.
Princes kneel before you. Now what I said now.
No, an even better. Not to get off on a tangent, but even a better episode of that is when she finds out they're doing like a main story with her, but they're doing a side story with the two boyfriends where they go out to lunch and he's like, let me get a Mr. Pibb. And he's like, what? They're like, they don't have Mr. Pibb. Just get Dr. Pepper. It's not a big deal. And he's like, I really like Mr. Pibb. I don't know why you don't either. So they go in this long feud of who likes Mr. Pibb better. So like the next scene that you see them in, the one dude's wearing a Mr. Pibb t-shirt, and he's like, so you're just wearing that just to mock me? He's like, no, I just really like Mr. Pibb. So then the next scene, when you see them and keep in mind, they're like going forward with the main story, which was like about abortion or some shit with Sarah Silverman.
Wow.
And then they go to the next story, which is like you go to their house. They're like coming over their house to like talk about something, and the one boyfriend brings in a Mr. Pibb machine into the house, where he just keeps getting Mr. Pibb out of it.
I love how toxic. It's like, I don't want to get off on a tangent, but abortion and Mr. Pibb for like 2.5 minutes.
I didn't write the show. I
do love Mr. Pibb. But I think actually it doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Yeah,
Mr. Pibb?
No, they got rid of it. I think they got rid of it. Yeah, they got rid of it. They made an American Dad episode about it where
oh yeah, you're right.
English, do you guys have Dr. Pepper? Basically, it's like Coca-Cola plus root beer. That's what Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pibb.
Much.
Yeah, so if you have any of these doctor drinks,
I like to think of it as Dr. Pepper without the pretensions.
That's what Mr. Pibb. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Mr. Pibb, after he is what's the word I'm looking for? Sued. Class action lawsuit from a medical malpractice.
Right, he loses his license. He's defrocked. So to
it's
speak.
like that movie Playing God with David Duchovny, where he's
good
like
movie.
loses his license.
Good fucking movie. Yeah. Hey, you want a great line from that movie? That's a good rewatch movie too. There's a great line from that movie where the two thugs bring him down to speak to the main bad guy, and he's just like, are you gonna hurt me? And he's like, are you asking because you're worried or because you want me to? He goes, I'm just trying to play in my day.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Wow. And he has like a voiceover right before that, and he's like, if you're a regular person and two guys that look like roadies from Metallica have guns and are bringing you down to go speak to their crime boss, you might think, yeah, my life's kind of gone in the shitter. But if your life is already in the shitter and you're a drug addict and you lost your medical license, you might think, well, at least I'm at the beach.
Great lines.
The thing sounds nice. I saw a meme one time that said, just because I listen to Pantera doesn't mean I'm a felon, but yes, I am a felon.
Well,
Yep.
I like Pantera.
English.
But I'm not a
Sorry,
felon.
man. I'm sorry you had to wake up early for this.
Yeah, I
Just
got no
kidding.
problem. I wake up early a lot anyway, so it's no problem.
We've all been drinking all day, and we're just on side tangents.
Oh yeah.
This is fun though. What are
How many English? How many cups of tea have you had yet? Have you had your bloody sausage already? Have you had
Blood
your cup of
sausage.
tea and your bloody sausage?
I like blood sausage.
Why is it okay to
Yep.
be racist to white people?
That's funny.
Bring some
it's
black
the world
people
of
on here. I'll be
We're racist
racist as
towards
fuck to
everybody
them.
on this show.
Oh, you say that, but the moment I
I
bring a
dare
black
you.
person on here,
I dare you. Oh, you
Don't.
don't even know.
oh really?
The fried
Oh
chicken-
really? Because
Yeah,
I'll fucking do it.
bring it. The fried chicken watermelon jokes will
Anyway, what
Don't
are you
know
guys'
the last name.
worst?
You should try
What are
it.
the
It's lovely.
worst Draculas you've seen?
Do you guys remember when Blade was like addicted to like the adrenal glands of all the KFC stuff, and they
Yeah.
cut that out of the movie? Do you remember
Remember
that?
when Blade?
Oh,
Remember when Blade kept having to apply lotion to his elbows? I'm just kidding.
Remember when he kept trying to check his credit score and
Oh my god, dude!
find his father?
All right. It's getting worse. Who's gonna get the worst? Who's gonna be the worst? I can't. The lotion joke, like black guy would hear the lotion joke and be like, "Motherfucker, speaking fire, he's saying the truth."
No, any
Where do we
of my
put the-
black friends would laugh at all of that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Well-
most people have a sense of humor. You know,
Would your black friends laugh at a vampire Coolio from Dracula 3000?
yeah, they
Because-
really have black friends.
Because
All
I
of my
remember. You guys remember Dracula 3000
No.
with Coolio?
Wait, do
Yeah.
you mean Dracula
I
2000?
remember it coming out. Fucking hell.
No, dog. Dracula 3000, like Dracula in space with Coolio and Casper Van Dien. Yes.
Wow, I don't remember
Yeah.
that one.
No, you've heard of Dracula 2000, which is
Exactly.
this one.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
Fucking Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Another fucking Wes Craven's Dracula 2000. It took place in the year 2000, so it wasn't
Wow.
cool to say the year 2000 when you were in the year 2000, you know?
Wow.
And this movie apparently had 2 sequels, but you couldn't call it Dracula 2002, so they just called it Dracula Ascension, which was confusing. Dracula 2 Ascension. And then there's a Dracula 3, apparently, that's related to this. I don't know. These movies are dumb. But this one is so bad, so dumb, it's fucking almost amazing. So if you guys ever want to see a vampire Coolio, definitely check out Dracula 3000. Another terrible Dracula. Huh?
He passed away recently, didn't he? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't putting his lotion on his elbows, man.
Damn.
Sorry. Coolio, we're just fucking with you, dude. I love you, man. You did that one song with Michelle Pfeiffer when she sat backwards on the chair, so you're forever ingrained in society's memory because of that. And also because Weird Al made fun of you. That's kind of the main reason why we know who Coolio is. We know Gangster's Paradise because we know Amish Paradise. Can I tell you my least favorite Dracula ever?
Sure.
It's this motherfucker from Van Helsing. He was the worst, least charismatic, fucking worst actor playing Dracula.
I thought it was hilarious. In it.
He was
he's not a great
hilarious.
Dracula, but he's hilarious. Yeah.
No, he was hilariously bad. I mean, I enjoy watching Van Helsing, don't get me wrong, because of this Dracula. And in a specific scene, a very specific part, I'll try to do this without holding the mic. But there's that part.
Funny as well.
No,
his lines are terrible. There's a part specifically in the movie where he is man, I want to maybe I'll play it. You guys talk amongst yourself. I mean, his hair, he does have 3 hot vampire babe bitches. They are babes, and I will give it that. I don't like this. We talked about this last time on the werewolf thing. It's I don't like this, the only thing that could kill Dracula is werewolf venom.
For me, definitely, it's especially I love the first and second Blade film so much that I like Dominic Purcell because he was in Legends of Tomorrow as
Is that this guy's name?
Well, no, he's in Blade Trinity. Blade Trinity. I thought that Dracula was
This dude
shit.
right here. This Dracula right here.
Yeah, he's the lawyer, isn't he?
No,
that's different. He's talking about Blade Trinity.
I'm saying
Trinity's Dracula.
Listen, the actor who played Dracula.
Yes.
He's Dominic Parceau. He's in Great Legends of Tomorrow, but Dracula, I thought for considering Blade fights the fucking Reapers in part 2, and I thought Dracula and Blade Trinity was shit. Like I couldn't stand him, man.
Remember the
Yeah,
Dracula you're talking about for Trinity, Vlad or whatever his name.
Yeah, they go way downhill in the villains from the Reapers in part 2.
Well, I like the main Dracula type dude in Blade 2. He's like not Dracula, but he's like the main old vampire guy that's like the Reaper dudes after. And he's like, that's exactly what I think the vampire should be like that guy. Because, like, he should be able to talk if he wants to.
Well, I like the Blade 2 idea that they've had this team of vampires. They've got this other strain of vampire, the Reaper strain, the like the TV show The Strain, which is also very good. I like that they have those things. And it's like so dangerous that Blade and his team have to say fuck it, and team up with them and into some kind of sort of cohesive unit or whatever. And I liked it. I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good premise.
That's one thing. West
knows the weirdness. That's what I like about the sequel. It goes a bit more creative with the monsters.
Yeah.
It's Del Toro, isn't it?
And definitely too. If you've read the books, I did read the books of The Strain and then the TV show. If you're watching the Strain TV show, you can tell Del Toro got all that shit from Blade 2. Come on, he even has a Daywalker and fuck The Strain.
The Strain is a really good show.
I thought it was a very good adaptation from the books.
Got the villain off Ant-Man, hasn't it? And Ed is actually very good in it.
Yes, he is. He is good in it. The fake hair ain't fooling nobody, but yeah, he's really good in it.
But I know what Enzo means.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say, look, I know what Enzo means. I get why Enzo would like this version of Dracula. I think, like Luke was saying that. I think because he matches the tone of this film. That's why I forgive it more, because I get what you're saying, but it's also
goofy. It's a goofy film. I still kind of a soft spot for it, even though I know it's not a great film.
I have a soft spot for Van Helsing. It came out like the same year or right around the same year that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen came out.
Yeah,
I thought they were good. Yeah, I liked both of those,
especially Kiss Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah,
dude.
Okay.
Let me.
I'm
gonna try to play something.
Go ahead.
No. Keep talking though. But I'm gonna try to play it without any fucking echo.
Yeah, I'm a big defender of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I like the one chick. I like her as Mina Harkness, and she's a vampire, and I like that whole premise.
One thing too with Van Helsing, I have to defend at the time period. The CGI now is different, but I like the fact that he's ripping his fucking skin off as he's transforming. That was sick.
But then as a human, when he becomes a werewolf, like he rips his skin off again, and it's just like constant like shedding over and over. It's weird, and also like you find the pieces of skin on the floor later the next day, or do they just disappear, or I don't know. I do like the idea that it hurts when you become a werewolf, No!
I also like the idea that the Catholic Church might be using him as like a weapon against the supernatural.
Yeah.
Back to Monster Squad. Yeah, the idea that Dracula keeping Wolfman all doped up. This is why I think this Dracula is so bad. This scene right here. Now,
oh God,
he's trying to clap and speak at the same time. Now, he's trying to do this thing. He's trying to do this where I'm going to say, normally people have a slow heartbeat, but when I get closer, the heartbeat gets faster and faster, and they can't control themselves. Now, he's trying to do what I just did. Now, I'm a professional fucking drummer. That's easier said than done to do that. So I'm not saying what he's trying to do is easy, but it's like this is the best take they had. This is the best take of him trying that. Are you ready? All right, here it comes. Oh, we'll go up here. Here we go. Sorry, I gotta skip a few seconds. Here we go, right here.
Lord of the Rings.
I can tell the character of a man by the sound of his heartbeat. Usually,
here it goes.
Hey, Chris, didn't we get stopped on the John Wick stream for this?
well,
I
I'll
forgot.
stop it for a second. And you know,
Remember
if this stream gets fucking nuked
Russell-
right now, not a big deal.
I'm just saying,
I
like
don't give
they shut our stream down for like 20 minutes and we didn't even know it because
well, we're gonna
Chris-
tread in 10 seconds of dangerous water. So
Bring
let's
it.
just try
Bring
this out.
bring it.
Dance to the beat.
Oh,
Strange.
I'm sorry.
I can almost dance to the beat.
You see how he's getting all choppy right there.
Strange that yours is so steady.
I also don't like his hair
Yeah.
very much. This like rock star.
Yeah.
That was the point. They wanted them to look like rock stars, even the werewolf when Van
But-
Helsing turns into one.
Yeah, but see, at least like the rock star werewolf, like he has like a rock star face and body. Like he's a handsome, sexy dude. This guy is old and weird looking. Megan, is this guy good looking?
Yeah, he's really doing it for me.
Is this your Count Dracula?
She's got her hand under the blanket for a reason.
Yeah, good thing,
Jesus.
you're not in this room because
Yeah.
it's getting
Yeah, I
heated.
know.
in here.
We're gonna have Oklahoma onion burgers later, and then it's gonna get greasy.
Shut up.
If you know what I
Talk
mean.
about
Jesus Christ.
Shut up.
talk about vampires, you retard.
Talk about vampires, you fag.
Hey, can I point out that Wolf with Jack Nicholson in 1994 is very underrated?
Yes,
I
I
like
agree. James Spader's
That was the
in it,
first.
too.
That was the first R-rated movie I saw in a theater, and it was because I went with my aunt Gina and my cousin Queef, who you're so fond of. We were.
Oh wait!
Five-
Oh, hold on. I want to do an impression. I'm going to do an impression real quick. Go ahead.
Do
it.
Let's talk about vampires.
All right.
Hey, yeah, if it's a vampire, is that I took some mushrooms. Good the Bible, the Liba, the Bible.
Yeah, well, yeah, but more Jonah Hill. And yeah, that is kind of what he sounds like. I agree.
I agree with Wes.
Um,
Remember when it came out, Jack Nicholson.
I've known that guy for over a decade. That
I've also known him for over a decade.
The werewolf transformations in Wolf were excellent.
Yeah, I like
Also,
Wolf.
James
Fucking good.
Spader plays a great villain. And
Yes,
they
he
do
does.
They
Dude,
do
James
a very.
Spader plays a great everything. I love that
Yeah,
guy.
I love the Blacklist. I know our RT&Z texted me. He did the Blacklist finale, but I got 10 good seasons out of Blacklist. I fucking love that show.
Oh, did
do
it?
too.
Oh, did it turn out? Oh, spoil it for me. Did it turn out that he's the mom? Did it turn out that he's trans?
They never explain it.
He's
and
trans.
secretary. There's always secretary.
They never actually explain that, Wes, which is
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
He always
then
playing these
got-
dodgy characters. Does that James Spader? Always plays
Yeah.
these dodgy characters. He does
Yeah.
a good job of it.
So story
and then
time.
Robert California.
I had seen
Yeah,
I
that's
had
awesome.
seen many rated R movies when I was a child, but my mother always told me you can't go see rated R movies in the theater because those are the rules. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. And then I was visiting Austin one time when I was about when did Wolf come out?
1994.
Okay, so I would have been like 9 years old.
Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
I am going to the movies with my aunt and my cousin, and it's like, let's go see Wolf. And I was like, but I can't go. We can't go because I'm a kid. And my aunt's like, dude, you could go see rated R movies with an adult. And I was like, I see how it is. Okay. And then we watched the movie, and then I call my mother, and I'm like, hey, mother, interesting development. I know your little tricks. So now we're going to start seeing rated R movies all the time. So now my mom had to take little fucking 9-10-year-old to rated R movies all the time because I knew that I was like, I could go with my mom if she takes me. So we saw From Dusk Till Dawn in the theaters. Took all my
Yikes.
friends. My
Yikes.
mom and like 3 10-year-old boys like going to see From Dusk Till Dawn, and me coming out like, yay! And my 2 friends were like, whoa, what was that? Hey, I can't tell my mom I was here.
I remember taking my 2 13-year-old stepsons to go see Deadpool, and I remember walking out of that. I remember walking out of that, and they just go, both of them almost the same. They're like, so this movie's just basically about you as a comic book person? I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you both so much. We're going to the game store right now, buying you whatever you want.
That's
the
funny.
best compliment I've ever got in my life. Good for you, you little
Yeah.
shits.
I thought
Good
you
for
were
you.
gonna start. They were just gonna start saying like penis jokes they heard in the movie. You know how kids are.
I mean, they probably did, but
And so if you want,
and so how much?
Before that.
What?
They're probably telling us penis jokes before they saw Deadpool.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What were you
How-
saying, Collar?
How much better would those stories have been had your grandmother been the one to take you to these? Enzo, why are you gonna make me watch these movies when they doing it? They saying it in bad words. Enzo, I'm not gonna make you any of the pastrami that I told you I was gonna make later on.
Yeah,
We
she
need more
didn't,
casual racism.
she
We
didn't
don't.
like any of those mobster movies, man. Those things upset
I
her.
don't
She'd be
like it.
turn that off.
That's a La Cosa Nostra.
She'd be like,
That's
turn
the
that off.
black hand.
It's. She'd be like,
I
it's a
don't like it, the
stereotype.
black hand.
She's like, it's a real bad stereotype, and I'd be like, you're talking like a grandma who's like connected. You know, you're talking like someone who doesn't.
That's a stereotype. I don't like that. Let me
One
go
time-
take it.
Grandma and Jane Austen's back for you.
Yeah.
Grandma
One
and Jane
time-
Austen's back for you. Fucking hell.
I'll take you back home and make you some bacon.
I had a friend one time whose all his family was like New York Italians, and they came down to celebrate whatever somebody's retirement party or something, and we went to go
Christopher
do
Columbus.
it. And it's a long story, but anyway, we were there and we were playing Trivial Pursuit Mobster Edition, and so this and there was this one uncle who was like out, you know, not playing. He was just kind of like had a lawn chair facing outwards. And he earlier had offered me some jujubes. And I was like, you know, the candy. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, what? You don't want some jujubes? What am I, an asshole? I'm just trying to give you some jujubes. And I was just like, who are these people? And so he was just sitting out there, like looking out at the, you know, the scenery or whatever. And the lady says, playing Trivial Pursuit, she goes, where is the best place to bury a body? And she's looking around for answers, and out of nowhere this fucking guy goes, the airport. And he wasn't even playing, and we were like, dude, you're not even in the game. And he was like, I'm just saying, the airport.
I'm just saying, yo, my first vehicle was an IROC Z28. I loved it so much because it means
Holy
it died.
shit, you too? No, seriously, you too? Mine was with T-tops.
Yeah, do you know what IROC stands for?
No.
Italian retard out cruising.
Oh god. My first car was an IROC Z with T-tops. That's real.
Meg, do you know why Italy's in the shape of a boot? Because they couldn't fit all that shit in a sneaker.
I was about to say, I'm not Italian, so I hope you don't think any of this is offending me. I'm a potato in.
Yeah,
My
I know.
friends-
I
my friends call
got
me a
some. I
potato.
got Irish jokes. I got Irish jokes for you too.
Well, I don't want to hear him because I'm very easily offended. Okay.
Fucking hell.
I'll
He
say,
probably
uh,
said some bad English shit, but fuck it, you have it. Go on a laugh, don't you?
I'll say, Enzo, if you Google like Wolf 1994 with some of the images there, the fucking makeup on Nicholson, holy shit, that's fucking great.
Yeah,
great
they did
effects.
such a good transition
Yeah, they
with
did.
that, and then they do that slow, like he's like still going to the editing job, and you know,
Yeah.
I still contend that
When
that
he
movie
pisses
would've-
on that dude's shoes.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
movie still would have been good even without the supernatural element. It was
Yeah.
still just like a good movie.
Yeah.
You know
Even
what I
if
mean?
like he didn't actually turn into a werewolf, if he just
Yeah.
became like a big asshole
It was
and
just
was
a
like
great.
still
Yeah.
biting people and stuff, like as Jack Nicholson, like it still would have been
Yeah.
cool, you know, if
It
there was
was-
no makeup. I think Wolf was also Rick Baker, was it not?
I don't know.
But I like the part where they're both like wolfed out, and there's a part where they're like biting each other, and it cuts to like weird hand puppets of them, and it's like it's so weird looking when they're like snapping at each other for like a half a second, you know, clip, and it's just like that part is like so ingrained in my memory.
I like when he first starts discovering his powers and he realizes that the other book editor that he works with has been fucking drinking coffee. He's like, how the fuck can you drink tequila at 10 o'clock in the morning? And he's like, how the fuck did you know that? And then later he hears the guy on the phone and the guy's like, yeah, I had one little sip of tequila and he's all over me. I put a little in my coffee. And then
Yeah.
later he hits him again and he's like, hey, I need you to do this to the publisher, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, by the way, don't be telling people that you had a shot of tequila in your coffee. You didn't have any coffee at all.
So like having tequila that
Who
early in
puts
the
tequila
morning
in their
or whatever,
coffee?
but yeah,
Ew.
that's what I was gonna say. In coffee is like
You
that's the
put
part
whiskey
that's
in your
disturbing.
coffee, or maybe some rum in your coffee. You don't put.
He said tequila, as far as I recall.
Yeah, you don't
He
put
said
any.
tequila.
No, I believe
fucking
you. I wouldn't be. I
disgusting.
wouldn't be surprised if you're remembering it correctly.
There's literally
Still.
no drink that consists of tequila and coffee, and that's for a reason.
I mean, tequila is one of those things that is just like, yeah, mix it with like some fruit, some ice, or
Ooh,
nothing.
I'm about to. I'll be right back.
Oh Jesus!
Yikes.
Well, I
Hey,
guess
good
we'll
one.
start talking about this last vampire movie that fucking Meg didn't even watch.
All right. Well,
The Demeter.
Yeah,
I may or may not come back in. If I don't come in,
there's a lot I can
Bye.
say about it. I mean, before we get into it, though, I mean, is there anything else, like especially Bastard wants to talk about? All these Dracula movies. Dracula's been in 85 movies.
Jesus Christ.
The list I'm looking at goes up to it has 82 titles, but it goes only to 2015. And when I do the math myself, the ones that are missing are yeah. Oh my god. Like 10. No. Oh my god, there's like a good 15 movies missing. Okay, well, I got a complete list right here. Shit.
Does that include the Nosferatu remake that's going to be released next year by Robert
No,
Eggers?
not that. The list ends with Last Voyage of the Demeter, 2023. So yeah, you know, it was a cool vampire movie that I saw. I mean, again, I'm trying to keep this to Dracula discussions, and that's what these movies. This list is specifically Dracula movies, because there's like hundreds of vampire movies, but a cool vampire movie that I saw was called Bliss, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's about like a painter, and it was kind of like very interesting. Yeah, it is called Bliss from 2019. Very stylistic, very cool, very fresh. Brilliant painter facing the worst creative block of her life turns to anything she can to complete her masterpiece, spiraling into a hallucinatory hellscape. It's basically like if vampirism was like a drug, and it's like it's like snorting fucking this red powder, and it comes from blood. And it's like kind of adrenochrome kind of related. But yeah, send this woman spiraling. Holy shit. It was cool, man.
Can I give my opinion on Demeter and then check out with you guys? Because I gotta work in the morning. So
yeah, no worries. Let's get on Demeter right now. Yeah.
Okay. So I did get a chance. I was off today. I did get a chance to go see it. Very good visuals. If you guys have not had a chance yet, hopefully there'll be a link in the comments or something for Blue Collar's review of it, which I thought was very spot on. I did watch his review before I saw the movie, but that's okay. He didn't spoil it too much. I'm not going to either right now. I'll let you guys do that if you decide to. I did like the visuals. I did like seeing the Onion King make an appearance again. I've not seen him since Game of Thrones. I think he has a great voice. I think he's a good actor. I thought the young lady that played the female lead in this was very, very good. She's very believable, very tragic character.
Wasn't a girl boss either.
Say again.
She wasn't a girl boss either. She actually
she was not a girl boss. That I'm really starting to get encouraged by the last 6 or 7 movies I've seen have not been wokeified. So now, that being said, I kind of question the main protagonist.
This movie had some ESG points with the brain protagonist and the woman. The woman's the only girl. The girl's the only person that lands a blow on Dracula in the movie.
But she's also the main victim, though, too. So
yeah, but she's also doing the thing. It's kind of like Predator, though, to be fair, where she's the one like giving the expository dialogue about what the creature is.
But she also does not have a happy ending. So...
No, which was good.
But
I'm surprised.
Anyway,
I'm surprised anybody had a happy ending on that movie. To be honest.
I mean, no one really did, really. But I mean, so I'm not sure. You know, I don't know.
I want to spoil the fuck out of this movie. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know the history very well.
There's not a whole lot to spoil.
It seems unlikely that a black doctor would even have happened back then.
Yeah,
much
Yeah, I was
less.
questioning that as well.
it definitely
Yeah.
seemed like a little
Yeah.
because I know Chris was talking about like what is this ESG stuff, and it's like so here's the
Yeah.
thing, it's like it's not like it's bad, but the idea is like someone's like, look, there's no black people in this movie, and he's like, okay, well we'll make the lead a black, and he's a victim of racism, and then all of a sudden your
Eddie's
ESG
a
score,
doctor.
your
Eddie's a
ESG score
doctor.
goes up when you do things like that, and the movie will
but
get financed.
The
Yeah,
thing
you've
about
confirmed that for me, Toxic. You've confirmed that me because I was questioning that a little bit. I was like, am I seeing Walk where it isn't? But yeah, you've confirmed.
Yeah, I try not
Mm.
to. I'm actually,
I know.
believe it or not, as toxic as I am, I try not to see woke when it's not there, because I'll tell you this. In the 80s, there was no such thing as ESG scores and woke and shit like that. And my favorite
Yeah.
TV show was the fucking Cosby Show, and they had a doctor and a fucking lawyer, both black, living in a fucking brownstone in, I mean, upper middle class, so I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes you have to just kind of suspend disbelief. I had somebody I just got argued with about our Justified stream where he was like, "Oh, look, they did this. They totally
Yeah.
ESG this out," and I'm like, "Yeah, but they wrote the book in the '70s, so I mean,
It just depends.
and they
like if you're doing
they
it to like a fictional character who's it doesn't really affect them,
Yeah.
then go for it.
yeah. So
This
I
one,
don't know.
it didn't. I mean, this one it's there, but it doesn't bother me, and it's like
Yeah, he's a good. Well, one, he's a good actor.
if there were
All right.
3 or 4
Oh, yeah.
more instances of it, then it'd be
Right,
also
and
like,
it's not it's not like they redid Bram Stoker's Dracula and made Van Helsing black guy. So they didn't do that. So this is what is the argument always? Like, if you're gonna make a black or a female character or whatever, a person of color, make up your own character. Well, they did. They made up their
Well,
own character.
Yeah, but
Yes.
my problem, if I was a black man, I would be upset that it's this constant, like, anytime there's a black dude, they got to make him like a brainy guy. They got to make sure he's a man of science or a doctor, or he can't be like a fucking.
Well,
Because, like, let's say this movie was made 10, 15 years ago. Most people would be like, all right, it's a movie about Dracula's ship. Obviously, a bunch of white British dudes are the captains. And it's like, all right, well, let's throw one black dude in there. Normally, what they would do is they'd have, like, some kind of Michael Clark Duncan type black dude be one of the crewmen. And he's, like, from Africa or something. And he's, like, a big expendable character who dies. Which is,
I thought of that. But then I also thought of Dracula 2000. And in the very beginning of the movie, Omar Epps, he's the main bad guy, and he is the ringleader of the group. He's the number one guy, and he's the most intelligent and the fastest and the smartest and the deadliest. And I mean, he's actually the main professional thief, and he's the one he does, but he's the main. So I mean, I don't know, man. I try to take it with a grain of salt and not see woke shit where it wasn't there. But anyway,
if
I had to describe it, I would say it's Dracula Alien in the 1800s or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they're stuck on a ship the whole time. It's kind of interesting. Like, what would have happened if he had sunk, and like, could he? You know what I mean? Like, what? I mean, can the sunlight get down there, or can he get down to places? Like, I mean, obviously he doesn't need to breathe underwater, but like, I mean, again, I don't know. I don't want to spoil the whole movie, but I don't necessarily have a problem with him being the Nosferatu bat-faced, vampire the whole time. That seems pretty logical. I'll caveat a little bit on to what Blue Collar said in his review. He's pretty intelligent in the fact that he doesn't attack the crew right away. He starts like preying on animals and stuff like that. And that does two things. One, it shows some intelligence on the antagonist, but it also it builds up suspense. So, I dug it. It's not something I'm going to rush out and go see. When it comes on to streaming or whatever, wherever it lands, if it's convenient, I'll probably watch it again. If they decide to make a series out of it, I would definitely tune in just to see where the story goes. Maybe they could link it up to the actual vampire tale of like maybe the doctor guy. What was his name again? Was
Clemens.
Clemens. Maybe Clemens could wind up
Clemonade.
working. That's two things we're watching with Clemens in it, isn't it? Blue Collar. But maybe he could link up with Van Helsing later on down the road, tracking him down in London or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's could
what I
be a
was
thing.
thinking. I was
That could be a thing.
Spoilers.
Yeah, well, I was thinking
yeah,
maybe
spoilers.
he would.
Well,
I mean,
fuck,
I want to talk all the spoilers. I don't care because, like, I gotta say,
but
kind of waiting to talk about this movie. Like, I gotta say, Dracula at the very end of this movie. That's what I'm talking about right there with the fucking hat and the face and the robe and disappearing. Like, yes, that's
I'm okay
better.
with it. I thought it was good.
Not that.
It's definitely not the best thing I've seen all year, but it's definitely not the worst. It's if I'm giving it out of the best score out of 5, I'd give it a good solid 3.8, like almost a 4.
5.53.
You know,
5.53 range.
Not bad.
mid.
I wouldn't go watch it again, but it was well done for what it was, and it doesn't look like it had such a lavish budget. It might do pretty well right around now. I mean, I really don't even know.
It's not doing well. It's doing pretty bad because it's like
Is
still
it?
the residuals of Barbie Barbenheimer. They're still rippling through.
Okay.
But what's
I
funny,
don't know. The theater was packed. The theater was packed when I went into the theater today.
Well, that's cool.
But I mean, that's again, I can't really judge that. I never really judged that. I used to judge it when I was living in South Florida. I would judge it like I would go to the theater in either West Palm or Miami, and then I could get a good idea. But I mean, out here in Lawrence, Kansas, I have no idea. That's not really going to make a box office thing. So in my opinion, good movie, not bad. Would I pay to see it again? No, but if it came on TV, would I watch it? I probably would.
Right.
I was pretty happy with it at the end of the day. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys to your own devices. Toxicity is leaving the chat.
Man.
All right, bud.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We're gonna dive into this movie for a bit because here's the thing, and good talking to you again, Toxic. Of course.
Take it easy, Greasy.
Greasy. Greasy. Here's the thing. I like the movie. Like I said, it's not really a whole lot you could spoil. It's the crew. They're all going to die. The ship lands up fucking derelict on the coast of England. But, as far as, like, some of the bigger things, like, I'm just so back and forth over, Dracula himself. I do like the fact that Dracula talks. He says a couple words. It's like, okay, good. He's not like a mindless zombie. But, I don't know, just the mechanics of Dracula. I don't like this, like, every person you get bit turns into a vampire the very next day. They'll explode in the sunlight the next day if you don't kill them. I don't know. I don't like that. I like it when you gotta drink a vampire blood to become a vampire. Vampire could just like milk you. Kind of like I like the idea, like the girl. Yeah, you keep a girl in one of the crates, so every once in a while you can just like go like milk her for some blood, turtle milk, But I gotta say, like, I didn't watch Blue Collar's video until after I saw the movie, and I finally saw it today, and I was like, shout out on my channel. Thanks, man. Thanks for the shout out. And it's like, yeah, I do like the demonic vampire Dracula, but seeing him totally naked is troubling. I don't know why I don't like it so much. I prefer it when, like, I don't know. I prefer it when he has some kind of, like, cape or something. A robe, like, kind of like Spawn,
Yeah.
Agree? Disagree?
I think the problem for a lot of people is, but this is Dracula because, like, they said that this is one chapter in the book of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and at the very end, like you said, you see him at the very end wearing human clothing. So I took it as like how Gary Oldman is, because you look at Gary Oldman, he goes through like 4 different makeup jobs in that film. So it's like when you see him in the full fucking top hat and glasses, looking young. To me, that's the evolution of what Dracula is going to become. And you've seen this in a film that, like, much like how many different vampires, Dracula is weak as fuck in the beginning because he's basically starving to death. Right. Every time he fucking feeds, and Jeremy John said this shit.
Yeah, every time he has wings. He
starts getting more powerful as he's feeding.
Did I miss the scene where his wings like grow out, or did he just all of a sudden he's flying around? He has wings, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was like that was the scene we needed, where like he comes out of the coffin this time. Yeah. and we get to see the wings like unfurl from like out of the elbows. We see that he's growing. We see that he gets stronger. But I do like the first couple kills, like he's crawling basically like a worm.
Yeah, he's like all pathetic and shit. Yeah,
it's cool, man. I like that stuff, and I do like. I hate to say that fucking Cunningham guy is just so fucking typecast all the time, but Jesus,
he's got a good voice to him and shit.
But watch him in Dorkside. He's a terrible fucking asshole in that film.
Yeah.
See what I understand what Wes was saying with the whole in the whole ESG thing. I'm like, well, but you look at Clemens, right? Clemens, because everyone's like, why do you want to go back to England for? He's like, because I'm in Transylvania. I mean, a black dude in Transylvania in 1897, probably. How would a black guy in Transylvania fucking go over well? It's like,
and to be fair, it's like the Emancipation Proclamation was like 1860s, so it's like, there were freemen at the time. A black dude being a doctor isn't like out of the ordinary or unorthodox or crazy, and it's one of those things where it works in the movie. It's not like oh, we have to suspend disbelief or we're upset that there's like a black lead. It's just one of those things where you're gonna write a movie about like 1800 sailors. And you're going to just automatically write them to be all like, white European type dudes.
Yeah.
And then someone somewhere along the lines is like, what if we make the lead guy a black dude struggling with the struggles of racism? Yeah. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, it's just a little thing in the movie and it really doesn't add much to the movie, but you know what it does add? It adds taxpayer money. They will get literally get rebates and stuff for their movie because of it. Their stocks will go up and stuff because of it. It's crazy.
What's this weird thing where it's like I see that, but like I said too with the Anna there, it's like when they find out in 1897, these guys were fucking very superstitious and they had like their religious views, and having a woman on a ship was not fucking allowed in 1897.
Yeah.
So
also my favorite was the chef who was very religious and freaked out. And
so I'm like
doom is gloom.
So with that whole aspect, like I'm fine with if it was America, it's one thing, but in Transylvania, how many fucking black dudes live in Transylvania? Come on.
Yeah, and I don't get me wrong, like I'm not. I certainly like this movie. I think it was a fun slasher film. It was a great little vampire flick with some kills and some good makeup, good special effects, man. And I like the setting. Maritime horror is underrated and underutilized.
Yeah.
Deep Rising is one of these movies I want to rewatch again with Treat Williams. Just like you're in a boat. Like you said, everyone's been saying, like you said, like I think Blue Collar, you're the first dude I heard say it, but it's basically alien on a boat.
Well, and that's what the director said. That's why people over the past weekend saying, well, this movie's kind of a slow burn. This movie doesn't have like a lot of action. I'm like, well, then again, okay, universally, most people seem like they like Aliens versus Alien. Why Aliens has 10 times the fucking action set pieces. A lot of people like Terminator 2 better than Terminator. Why? Because Terminator 2 has fucking 10 times the budget. I doubt a film like Alien, I don't think would work in 2023 because of, it sounds kind of conspiracy theory, but a TikTok generation, a YouTube Shorts generation, how many quote unquote slow burn movies actually work nowadays? Like, I said I reviewed Nefarious this year because Young Ripper had that guy, Sean Patrick Flannery on. Nefarious doesn't have a single fucking action scene in the entire film. Yeah. And it's like in films like that, like the fact that, I mean, come on, Barbie's beating Oppenheimer. The fact that Barbie beat out Mission Impossible 7. Like, holy fuck, guys. Like,
girls like to repeat views, man. And also the other thing is like with slow burns, like it's funny because back to William Friedkin, me and Meg were watching French Connection, and like Meg's like, "This is boring. How long is it?" And we only been watching it for like 30 minutes. It felt like an hour. Meg's like, "Change it." I watched it again later in bed, and it was good. But I watched Sorcerer, and that was also very slow and methodical. And dude, like you're 30 minutes into the movie, you're like, "Where is this going? Like, what is this about?" Yeah. But by the time you realize what it's about and what's happening and when it's happening, dude, I was on the edge of my fucking seat, basically. Like, dude, this movie's badass. Yeah. Slow. And I heard a lot of people, some people don't like it. Like, I think Tyler was saying, Sorcerer never did anything for me. But yeah, slow burns, like, they only work if you're, like, absorbed in the movie. Like, you at the theater watching a slow burn movie, like The Voyage of the Demeter versus fucking bastard watching a pirate version on his cell phone. You know, I'm sure it doesn't hit the same. Like, I wasn't really very scared by Dracula watching it on my cell phone. You know, it's like, yeah. I mean, it
And
hits different.
And that's been people been saying, but well, piracy the past 10 years. And I even said recently on a Facebook group that, well, okay, Demeter isn't doing good as like say Oppenheimer or Barbie. I'm like, okay, but then breakdown and drinkers had people talk about this, that if it wasn't for VHS and DVD sales, then we never would have fucking got an Austin Powers 2 and 3 Jason Bourne movies, because Austin Powers and Jason Bourne bombed at the box office. And fucking, it's like in DVD and VHS sales save those movies to get sequels. So not everything. Also, box office. Yeah, timing's a bitch. You put Demeter against fucking Barbie right now in Oppenheimer. What would you expect was going to happen?
Demeter, but did you see like you're sure you didn't see Dracula's dick at all in this movie though, right?
No, but like you're saying, the thing is, I was fine with him. I was fine with him being like a big naked bat because I wanted to feel like he's going to evolve into something more the more he feeds. You know what I mean?
Beardy beer.
Yeah, because I had a little complaint about that. I was thinking, is he a bit more feral? Because I kind of like my Dracula to have a bit of personality, like Christopher Lee, like can be really charming.
Yeah, it's a double-sided coin, man, because it's like on one end, it's like I like Dracula to be like a demon from hell, but also like you want your vampires. Megan, is that you?
Want them to be a bit seductive, don't you? So they can get them free.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, I thought the dogs were digging through something over there.
Which I know, I understand the aspect, but I feel like, see, all those times we see Dracula, this to me is almost this is a prequel to it. This is one chapter in Bram Stoker's Dracula, because all the other versions of Dracula, we're seeing him in England already. This is him going to England, so we're just seeing him on the voyage to England now. Whatever, 200 years later, he's going to evolve into like the Gary Oldman version. This is before all that, because
it does actually make sense now. When I saw him in a row, he actually seemed like a much different Dracula to what we saw earlier. Like he does seem to have a bit more subtlety to him. So if they do a sequel, if they ever do a sequel, which I doubt, he probably might have a bit more personality.
It's funny because Dracula is like one of these movie monsters that is like very human. He's got a human side to him. He can be like the most human of the Hollywood monsters, but also like the least human at the same time, you know? Because like, I mean, obviously a werewolf is like a human, like, 28 days out of the month, whereas like Dracula, he's not really a human at all. He's a vampire, he's undead, but Dracula works better when you do capture glimpses of that romantic, tragic, past life of his where he used to be a human or a prince even, he was royalty. Now he's a demon, it's like that. It's like Beauty and the Beast kind of attitude that it's lacking. And it's like one of those things where it's like maybe, you watch a movie like The Last Voyage of the Demeter and it's like you shit all over the Twilights and Bram Stoker Dracula, but it's like honestly maybe that romantic aspect of these Dracula movies is what make them so cool, because Dracula's a player, dude. He's a pimp.
Well, like even like listen to the Joe Rogan interview with Baker there. He's saying that because of budgetary reasons, but American Werewolf in London, they purposely don't show the wolf for more than 3 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
And back to the first Alien film, like I forgot, but like you see maybe one shot the entire fucking film with the actual alien, and with this one, they purposely only you're only seeing Dracula for like 3 or 4 seconds. That's it.
I think my main thing is just vampire Dracula just running around butt naked with his big wings. Like this is what I'd like to see, like Salem's Lot, kind of like Spawn. Like he's wearing like some kind of like Neo in the Matrix sequels where he's wearing like almost like one of these like priest robes. Yeah, that goes. It's like almost like a trench coat goes down to his ankles. Like he's like, imagine if the vampire is like wearing like a shadow. Like his clothes. He's wearing like a cloak. But it's so like pitch black. It's like a shape almost. It's not even like clothes. It's like a portal.
It still looks dead black. Shining light. It still looks dead black.
Yeah, and then maybe at the end, like it doesn't just like it changes shape. Like you can turn into like weird forms, and like at the end maybe it even stretches out and becomes big wings, like made out of like a shadow. Like that kind of attitude would be cooler. Like where do vampires get clothes? Hey, beer. What's up, guys? The Beardy Beer Bro Show. Hey, fella. We're just talking about Last Voyage of Demeter. Oh, are they?
They're good, then. They are good.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, they've all given me a couple of shout outs. On their channel, they had problems. They stopped uploading videos, but they kept the channel up. So,
well, cool. Hey, man. I mean, shit, I'd give you the link, but I think we're about to wrap up. We've been talking about vampires for like 3.5 hours. And
Yeah, it's like you're saying, Enzo, and like to Luke, is that I think that this, if who knows what's gonna happen in the future, but I think this would be like, for argument's sake, say this was a trilogy, this creature wouldn't work in a second and third film. I think this is like this would be part one. Part two, we're gonna see a different version, and he should be evolving, and that's my whole point of watching the film.
I liked it at the end. That was kind of exactly what I'm kind of going for, like freaky bald-eared, pointy-eared vampire in a suit. And then if he wants to blend in and disguise, he just puts on a little top hat, covers his bald head, his ears, and just kind of. But then you get a good look at his face, and you're like, that is not a human being. Like, what the fuck is that? You know?
I've seen that coming back, though, aren't we? Lately, we've had Midnight Mass with the Nosferatu bald-headed vampire.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just scarier, and also with Peter from What We Do in the Shadows, like that kind of master vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to join y'all, but on way back to work. Oh, man, that's cool. Next time, though, next Monday for sure. 30 Days a Night. Yeah, we were talking about best axe death ever. Best axe kill ever in 30 Days of Night, dude. Yeah, we were talking about 30 Days.
Dark as well, because that's very underrated.
No, we did talk about Near Dark because we were bringing up Lost Boys, and I did want to talk about how, like, Near Dark is unfortunate because it came out right after Lost Boys, and it kind of stole the thunder.
You got Bill Paxton, Janet Goldstein. Fucking great cast.
Lost Boys was the style, and Near Dark was the substance. And unfortunately, style won over substance that year. It was just so
Lost
fresh.
Boys is more fun. Lost Boys is more fun.
Cool hip. Seeing cool hip young vampires versus like grody old western like murderer vampires like in the desert, you know, cool young vampires on motorcycles on the beach listening to rock music.
I was thinking about the end, like you guys saying, like imagine this creature having a top hat and a trench coat on in a pub, having his hat down. Would people freak out? And I'm like, then again, like we talked about Ninja Turtles, where Raphael has a fucking trench coat and a top hat, and he sits in the middle of a goddamn theater, and nobody notices a fucking 6-foot turtle.
Yeah, see, I like to think of it with vampires. It's the idea, like, you know, like, yeah, he looks like a freaky demon in a top hat, but even if you looked at it, like, the mind powers are so strong. Like, if he doesn't want to be noticed, the vampire won't be noticed. It's
also scary with people, like, the whole point of...
Afflicted is real good. I've seen, is that is that Asian? Is that Asian? There's also, what was the other Asian horror vampire one? Thirst. Thirst is badass, and The Thirst with The Hunger with David Bowie.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about vampires. Like, specifically, like, there's so many hundreds of vampire movies. We were kind of talking about Dracula movies specifically. Yeah. And Dracula in itself, I mean, my God.
Well, I'm just saying, like, people, it's like the whole point of the Shawshank Redemption at the end, like the guy walks out, and Andy Dufresne talks about, you know, how many people never notice your shoes. So I'm just saying, like, people, you'd be surprised that it's like what people like choose not to see, and come on, it happens all the time. Where
I mean, you saw the vampire at the end of the movie in his hat. You would see that guy and just think that's an ugly man, and just look away, like he has bad teeth, and
light, wouldn't you? Not stare.
Oh, those cataracts? Am I seeing cataracts?
He's got the sickle cell.
His eyes are literally silver, man. Like he's got the worst cataracts I've ever seen.
Nowadays, be like, look, are you fat? Are you like skin shaming me? Or...
I'd be like, dude, are you like one of them crazy inbred English dudes that I keep hearing about? Because we got inbred dudes in the South of America, United States.
Have you seen
the English? They don't have anything on the inbred English. The inbred English have been doing it for a long time.
If you see the
Norfolk's supposed to be well known for it.
But... Yeah, the royals, the royal family. Have you seen fucking Prince? Oh, sorry, not Prince. Not Prince, King Charles. Have you seen King Charles sausage fingers? Those things. That man needs a doctor.
Yeah, I'm not anti-royalist, but King Charles is a fucking wanker. He is.
Oh, don't say that on. Oh, well, you said it on an American stream, so it's okay.
I know. I don't care. He's into a lot of like political shit, woke shit. He deserves it.
But that fucking dude who plays Dracula, though, honestly, he doesn't need much makeup. That's in the heat. There was a big interview saying how he got picked on as a kid, and his body, like the guy who plays Dracula, he's a weird looking fucking dude, which helped out for the movie.
So I mean, what other movies was he in? Was he the guy from fucking Pan's Labyrinth? No, that's a different guy.
Yeah. Well, you said, and so it just comes down to like, people like with this bad looking creature work out in a fucking pub. I 100% like, especially 2023, this would easily work. Come on, people.
Well, I just I don't know, this new character all of a sudden, from the movie. It's like, because we know Dracula, he deals with Mina's husband, Harker, Jonathan Harker. And then there's also, obviously, the original Van Helsing, Abraham Van Helsing.
Yeah.
But now there's this doctor from the book, and now there's the doctor from the movie, The Ship, who fought Dracula already. If they do a sequel, like main character from this movie needs to die right away, and we can move on to because it's kind of like the Hostel sequel. Dying at the end would have been better.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things where, like, oh, there's no spoilers here, man. It's like, everyone's going to die. But it's like, oh, actually, that one dude didn't die, and that kind of fucks it up, really.
I know. That was my biggest complaint. He should have gone out like a fucking boss. Yeah,
gone out like a boss. I mean, I do like the idea that they wound the animal, the creature, and get away on the stowaway ship, or a little raft, a little Titanic-style piece of wood, It's like Jaws. That's how it should have ended. With them swimming, just like Jaws, the same shot. Them like on the little rope, on the little piece of wood, driftwood, just like swimming with their little feet. Hey. Anyway. Oh yeah, Meg had to go, by the way. Meg's eating that Oklahoma onion burger I made her.
What's up?
How's the burger, Meg?
Yeah, people would say it's like, but I like the fact that we're going back to making Dracula vampires like this is like you said, Enzo, the old school disgusting.
I do like scary vampires more than sexy vampires. I gotta say that.
And even my son's like, Daddy's like, I'm surprised these guys killed the fucking 9-year-old.
Yeah, that was another thing I liked about the movie. It killed the dog, killed the kid. Fuck yeah. I mean, it's not like I support killing dogs and kids, but in horror movies. Like when the kid dies, it's like, okay, no one's safe. The dog dies, it's like this movie doesn't give a shit what we think.
Well, it's a horror. It's supposed to be a bit more depraved and fucking depressing. It's like the deepest, darkest part of humanity.
No one wants to see the dog die, and when the dog gets killed first, you're like, all right, okay, fuck us then, fuck the audience then. I see what you're saying, movie. You don't give a shit about us. You want to piss us off, okay?
Yeah, it's like guys, there's evil on board, and it's like, yeah, sure, dude. It's like there's fucking rabies. Like,
there's evil on board.
Yeah, because no one wants to believe there's a fucking 6-foot fucking bat running around drinking blood. Yeah.
It's because ye took the Lord's name at my table.
I will say this: the rabies excuse is much better than "it must be the wind."
Oh,
yeah, that fucking cliche.
Yeah.
It's like, or also like, what's that noise? Let me go look out. Let me go out and see. Like, I just rack my shotgun and stay right where I am in the couch.
I'll say all the time. Every time someone's like, well, sometimes the characters, what they do doesn't make sense. I'm like, dude, check fucking TikTok and check friggin' Twitter. Have you ever seen what people act like when they're scared shitless? People do really dumb shit when they're scared. I'm telling you, it's like, come on, it's not like,
dude.
Oh.
Well, I guess on that note, guys, I know Bastard hadn't been here very long. But
yeah, and I'm glad to admit that. You know what? I think this time might be a bit better. It gives me incentive to wake up a little earlier. Enjoy it after.
No, this time isn't really that much better. There's a middle ground somewhere. We'll meet up.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. But I know also Uninspired Reviewer wants to do one of these Mondays, so we'll do an early stream for you guys, so you can come on that one. We'll do an early because he lives around your time zone somewhere. I don't know where he lives exactly, but he was like, "Oh, that's like 5 a.m. for me when you start." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, next time." Well, here's what I'm gonna do. Any final word? Hour. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Get Dark Hour on. No, I want to stream with Uninspired Hour without Dark Hour, and just kind of just like get to know that man, get to know the little man.
I think I'll let you two have a let you two just do it, and then get to know him, and I'll do probably the next stream after.
Sure. Yeah. Or whatever. We'll work it out. I mean, I don't know when he's gonna be available. It'll be fun. But on that note, let me play this music and list in chronological order all the Dracula movies that ever came out. Are you guys ready?
Well,
there's a lot. 82. First of all, 1923. Is that when we start? 1921, The Death of Dracula. 1922, Nosferatu. 1931, Dracula. 1935, Mark of the Vampire. 1936, Dracula's Daughter. 1943, Son of Dracula. 1944, Return of the Vampire. 1944, House of Frankenstein. 1945, House of Dracula. 1948, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. 1953, Dracula Istanbul. 1957, The Blood of Dracula. 1958, Horror of Dracula. 1958, Return of Dracula. 1960, Brides of Dracula. 1966, Dracula, Prince of Darkness. 1966, Billy the Kid versus Dracula. 1967, The Fearless Vampire Killers, 1968, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep the music looping. I'm just going to keep it looping. Because this is we got a few more to go. Hang on. 1969, Blood of Dracula's Castle. 1969, Jonathan. Another Dracula movie called Jonathan. Okay. 1970, Taste the Blood of Dracula. 1970, Scars of Dracula. 1970, Countess Dracula. 1973, Jess Franco's Count Dracula. 1970, Vampiros Lesbos. 1971, Dracula, Frankenstein. 1972, Dracula AD. 1972, Dracula's Great Love. 1972, Blackula. We've also got Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, Countess Dracula, Scream, Blackula Scream, The Satanic Rites of Dracula, The Seven Brothers Meets Dracula, Lake of Dracula, Blood for Dracula, Andy Warhol's Young Dracula, Dan Curtis's Dracula, Old Dracula, Evil of Dracula, Dracula Father and Son, Count Dracula, Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, Dracula, Love at First Bite, Nosferatu the Vampire, Dr. Dracula, Elvira's Movie Macabre, Count Dracula's Great Love, Monster Squad, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Ed Wood, Dracula Dead and Loving It, Dark Prince, The True Story of Dracula, Dracula 2000, Shadow of the Vampire, Dracula Pages of the Virgin Diary, Dracula's Kiss, Dracula 2, Dracula 3 Legacy, Blade, Trinity, Dracula 3000, Van Helsing, Batman vs. Dracula, Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula's Guest, Count Dracula's Great Love, Elvira's Movie Macabre, The Satanic Rites of Dracula, Dracula Reborn, Dear Dracula, Dracula Lord of the Damned, Argento's Dracula, Dracula The True Story of Vampire, Dracula the Dark Prince, Dracula Untold, Waiting for Dracula, Dracula the Legend Lives, Trial of Dracula, The Many Faces of Dracula, Dracula in Love, Dracula's Daughter, Vlad the Impaler, Bram Stoker's Van Helsing, Village of the Vampire, Dracula Season 1, Dracula on Holiday, Dracula the Original Living Vampire, The Curse of the Dracula, Vampire Renfield, and Last Voyage of the Demeter. Holy shit, boys.
Christ.
Thank you very much. That was fun. All right.